had to figure that out. That like props to the arm. I assume the QD arm is part of the tower team. Like for real, everybody, anybody out there at SpaceX that may or may not be listening, like good job. But especially, I think tower and ground systems, I think, are the heroes of the day today. Whatever happens, just
It's
because
also the team.
that was a remarkable thing
It's also the team. I mean,
out there at
they
SpaceX.
built the ship adapter thing. They modified the OLM just to be able to test Ship 37, right? So they probably already had
Right.
a bunch of hardware in place. They probably have their own red team of sorts. And we saw a
Right.
bunch of people up there on that quick disconnect arm. There were a few people in chat earlier, especially in the stakeout stream. They were concerned about the potential that some of them may not have slipped. I'm just gonna say it's very, very likely that these are complete different teams, and there's also different shifts as well. Some people work nights, some people work mornings, and things like that. So just to make sure, these are different from the people that work at console for launch. They're not the same folks.
Absolutely wild. Like SpaceX is firing on all cylinders here. Hopefully we can get this rocket in the air today. But yeah, I think we should take a moment and acknowledge people who are supporting what we do. Thank you so much. It's always hard to keep up on launch day, but Ninja Decimator got in right at the top. Wow, I blew it. Ninja Decimator,
Oh
pew
my
pew
god.
pew, got in right at the top. That shows you how tired I am. That alone right there, the one name I would never get wrong and forget the pew pew pews to. But anyway, yeah, Ninja came in with a $20 super. What's up, dude? They say they're watching from my road trip from Minneapolis to Omaha for work. Wish I could be on cams with you guys today. Go NSF, go Flight 10. Heck yeah. I can't think of a better piece of support to start off the stream and start off thanking y'all with. As a quick reminder, I know some people out there are like, oh, I wish I could support you guys, but I can't. Please don't ever be bummed. Please don't ever feel like you have to support us. We don't want you to feel that way. We just try to give you a variety of ways to do that. And of course, the easiest one that you all know of, that you might even be rolling your eyes about me saying right now, is hitting the like button, because that really does matter. And it really does help our videos rise above the YouTube slop and AI nonsense. So if you like what you're seeing, hit the like button. We would appreciate it. It really does help, and it's free. Hey, you want to do some questions? How does that sound? You want to do some questies?
Yes.
Yeah, bring him on.
Oh God, I said questies live on air.
Yeah, you
Ryan
said
didn't answer.
questies.
Ryan, are you
You
ready for
did.
questies?
I mean, as soon as you said questies, and I quote, I mean, how am I meant to respond to such a word?
Yes. You're supposed to say yes.
Yes.
Excellent. Michael Burns is asking, any updates on Booster 12? Alex, have we had any updates on Booster 12? Did we get a Starship technical update yesterday that I completely stroked out through and did not even remember, and they told us what's up with Booster 12?
Well, yesterday we got an amazing update. We had a 20-second video of the inside of the Star Factory or something like that. No, I'm joking. I mean, we did get the video
even remember?
on Elon's X account, but it was, yeah. We don't know. We don't know about Booster 12. It went into the Mega Bay, I think it was a few weeks ago. And we think it's just getting prepared for potential displaying at some point in the future. One of the reasons why we think that is because they removed Booster 16, the booster for this flight, out of its workstation at the Mega Bay, and they put Booster 12 instead, right? And you don't do that with a booster that you're about to scrap. Like, if you're going to scrap it, just do it there with no remorse, right?
Right.
And so
As they have
that's as they have done before. Yeah, they've done
Right.
that with no shame at all, even with flight-proven
In
ships
fact-
like SN-15.
Yeah, and just last week, they scrapped SN2, which wasn't ever actually a ship
Yeah.
or anything. It was just a test tank that they ended up using, I think, as a water tank. But point being, SpaceX does not really have a lot of nostalgia for older hardware. Anyway, sorry,
Yeah,
Alex,
I mean,
continue.
sorry, just
No,
quickly
it's not.
chime me
Go
in
ahead.
here.
No, go ahead.
Quickly chime me in, yeah, about nostalgia. So I will not feel any sorries for SN2. I don't care. That doesn't
I
matter.
kind of do.
Really?
I kind of.
Oh,
Okay, here's
come
the
on.
thing. Yeah, no,
Oh,
here's the thing.
I can
Not like
make you
super-
mad though.
Not. Oh no, I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it.
SN15.
Let me. Yeah, no, I'm furious. I'm furious about it. You know what I'm not furious about though? Chris Loud. Holy cannoli. $500 super chat. Chris, that's absurd. How do I even thank you for that? They say light this candle. I really hope for everybody's sake out there that SpaceX does light this candle today. But Chris, you've been watching the stream. You saw our rundown on all the properties. You've heard me say that it takes a small town to get everything done that we do. And it's not like, we all go off to our mansions at the end of a Starship launch. This support means that we can continue to do this. And it really matters to us because we all have the best job in the world and we love to do this job. So helping us out, continuing to be able to bring this coverage to everybody really absolutely means the world. So thank you so much, Chris Lab. Thank you to everybody who's supporting, like Noel J, gifting 50 Red Team memberships. That's 50 people that now have access to a whole bunch of sweet member perks. We have a membership program here as part of YouTube that they did not have otherwise. In fact, if your name just turned green in chat, that means you're now a gifted member, and you should thank the person that gifted it to you, and you should also check out the sweet perks that you have access to, including the members multi-view, which is live right now for this stream. So members multi-view cycles through a variety of cameras so you can look at all of the different feeds from all of those different sites we talked about a little while ago. And if you don't like my voice, which, hey, I don't either, I don't blame you, then it has sort of like an ambient audio situation you don't have to listen to. So yeah, that's the members multi-view. If you got a gifted membership, you should be stoked because you probably have more than one stream.
Ухх Starship. Сколько всего в этом слове. Это явно самая легендарная ракета в истории и на данный момент единственная реальная надежда человечества на межпланетное будущее и на то, что космические полеты станут доступными для всех. Ведь Starship это первая в истории полностью многоразовая ракета, так и с огромной грузоподъемностью в 150 тонн, которая будет только расти. И он станет самой дешевой ракетой в истории. Starship начал свой путь еще в 2000-х годах, изначально с проекта Falcon XX, затем проект MCT, Марс колония транспорта, затем в 2016 году с проекта ITS, далее BFR еще два проекта BFR, и наконец-то в 2019 году была объявлена программа Starship. С 2019 года строятся различные прототипы, тестовые стенды и много чего другого. Иногда даже происходили полеты, некоторые из которых даже были успешными. И теперь SpaceX нацелены на сегодня, 25 августа, на стартовый окно с 23:30 по EDC, по 26 августа, 00:30 по EDC, на запуск 10-го полета Booster 16, Ship 37, хотя изначально запуск был запланирован на вчера, 24 августа, но был перенесен из-за проблем с заправкой корабля. Изначально в полет должен был отправиться корабль Ship 36, но он успешно взорвался при подготовке к прошлого 18 июня, тем самым уничтожив центр гребных испытаний на Месси. После завершения расследования потери Starship во время 9-го летного испытания и аномалий, связанных со статическим пожаром на Ship 36, были внесены изменения в аппаратное обеспечение и эксплуатации для повышения надежности. Предстоящий полет продолжит расширять рабочий диапазон ускорителя, запланированные многочисленные испытания на посадочный импульс, а также будет решать те же задачи, что и предыдущие миссии, включая первое развертывание по загрузке Starship и несколько экспериментов по возвращению в верхней ступени на стартовую площадку для захвата. В рамках этого испытания ракета проведет ряд летных экспериментов, чтобы собрать данные о реальных характеристиках будущих профилей полета и нештатных сценариях. Ускоритель проведет эти эксперименты на траектории полета к точке посадки в заливе Америка и не будет возвращаться на стартовую площадку для посадки. После разделения ступеней ускоритель развернется в контролируемом направлении, прежде чем включить двигатель. Этот маневр был впервые продемонстрирован в ходе полета 9 и требует меньшего количества топлива в резерве, что позволяет использовать больше топлива во время подъема для выхода на орбиту дополнительной массы по загрузке. Основными целями испытаний ускорителя будут посадочный импульс и использование уникальной конфигурации двигателя. Один из трех центральных двигателей, используемых на заключительном этапе для посадки, будет намеренно отключен для сбора данных о способности резервного двигателя и среднего кольца завершить посадочный импульс. Затем ускоритель перейдет на работу только двух центральных двигателей в конце посадочного импульса, перейдя в режим полного зависания над поверхностью океана, после чего он они выключатся, и он упадет в заливе Америка. Корабль снова будет направлен на выполнение нескольких задач, включая запуск 8 имитаторов Starlink, сопоставимых по размеру со спутниками Starlink следующего поколения. Имитаторы Starlink будут находиться на той же сопропитательной траектории, что и Starship, и сгорят при входе в атмосферу. Также планируется повторный запуск одного двигателя в космос. Серьезные испытания включают в себя несколько экспериментов, направленных на обеспечение возможности возвращения корабля на стартовую площадку. Зачитанное количество попыток было снято со Starship для уязвимых зон по всему аппарату во время входа в атмосферу. Несколько вариантов металлических плиток, в том числе одна с активным охлаждением, будут испытывать альтернативные материалы для защиты Starship во время входа в атмосферу. По бокам аппарата установлены функциональные фиксаторы, которые будут проверять тепловые и структурные характеристики фитингов, а также участок линии плитки, получивший слаженный и конический край для устранения горячих точек, наблюдавшихся во время входа в атмосферу во время 6-го вариантного испытания Starship. Приемные испытания продолжают предоставлять ценные знания для разработки следующего поколения Starship и сверхтяжелых ракет. Благодаря наращиванию производства на заводе Star Factory на базе Starbase и активному созданию новой пусковой и испытательной инфраструктуры в Техасе и Флориде, Starship готов продолжать работу над созданием быстрой и полностью многоразовой системы запуска. Статус подготовки к полету. За 7,5 часов 16 по EDC было перекрытие дороги, затем в 20:15 по EDC было уже начато уже активно заправочная инфраструктура. И далее на отметке 53 минуты до запуска в 22:57 по EDC у нас должна начаться заправка. Ой, точнее в 22:37 по EDC, там чуть неправильно. Но вот да, собственно, всем привет, с вами Space, и вы попали на вторую попытку 10-го испытательного орбитального интегрированного полета Starship миссии Integration Flight Test 10, который у нас запланирован уже через 2 часа 19 минут 48 секунд. Как уже говорилось, он был запланирован еще вчера, но вчера его перенесли. И на вчерашней прямой трансляции, сегодня уже это повторять не буду, на вчерашней прямой трансляции я рассказывал полную историю Starship, начиная с начала 2000-х годов. Также рассказывал про все серьезные испытания и запускал его в КСП, чтобы показать, как будет выглядеть этот полет. Ссылка на тот стрим в начале описания, по тайм-кодам все прописано, когда что я рассказывал. Вот, поэтому можете посмотреть. А на этой прямой трансляции пройдемся уже конкретно по транспортным средствам для этого 10-го полета, как и готовили к этому полету, и про аномалию Starship Ship 36. Да, как уже говорилось, изначально в этот полет должен был отправиться Ship 36, изначально он должен был состояться еще примерно в конце июня. Но Ship 36 успешно взорвался при подготовке к прожигу, и в итоге его заменили на Starship S-37, а запуск сдвинулся на 2 месяца. Так. Вот, начинаем еще 29 мая. Илон Маск Starship добрался до запланированного отключения двигателей корабля в 9-м полете, так что это большой прогресс по сравнению с прошлым полетом. Кроме того, не было защиты потери подзащитных плиток во время подъема. Утечки привели к потере. Частота запуска в следующих 3 полетов будет выше, примерно 1 раз в 3-4 недели. Очень сильно верим. Этот полет в итоге вместо 4 недель происходит через 3 месяца. Так, сделаем лучше вот так. Это у нас выкатка Booster 16 на орбитальную стартовую площадку 4 июня. Подождите. Затем сам прожиг Booster 16, который у нас состоялся... Когда он состоялся? 6 июня. Ну а вот, собственно, уже снятие бустер 16 с орбитальной стартовой площадки. Ну и, собственно, его транспортировка обратно. Так, боже, что за большой текст тут. А, это еще к этому. А ну. Немного тяжелое утро было для бустер 16. Это была довольно редкая операция по разборке, когда ускоритель поднимали на вершину башни и почти целый час опускали на транспортировочную стойку. Когда он занял позицию, возникли проблемы с правильным выравниванием ускорителя. После включения выравнивающих щифтов на транспортной поставке стабилизирующие рычаги на палыч на руках башни обслуживания отпустили ускоритель. Из-за неравномерного распределения веса важно, чтобы хотя бы один из них был прикреплен все время. Но по какой-то странной причине щифты внезапно втянулись, неповторно зацепив стабилизирующие рычаги, без ничего, что удерживало бы его прямо. Бустер врезался в транспортную подставку вот это и, похоже, несколько раз отскочил от нее. После этого стабилизаторы снова прикрепились к ускорителю и центрировали его над поставкой. Прежде чем передать обратно выравнивающим щифтам. Потребовалось несколько попыток с выдвижением и втягиванием зажимных рычагов, чтобы наконец-то установить ускоритель на подставку. Ну то есть, ну действительно, типа, вот где это было. Да ё. Ну видно то, что прям очень долго не могли поставить. Он тут шатался, блин. Ну вот, собственно, его уже везут обратно. А вот этот шип 36 вывозят на Месси на верную смерть. Из интересного, на шип 36 был также новый метод крепления плиток. Хотя нет, ну, это вот фото шип 38 с завершенным тепловым щитом. Как можно видеть, используется что-то по типу присосок в кубе с клеем, который раньше был лишь на месте сварных швов. Теперь, как можно заметить, у шип 36, вот, он используется на всех плитках, да. Все это делается для того, чтобы щит не просто был способен пережить вход в атмосферу, но и смог сделать это еще раз. Шип 36, возможно, мог бы быть первым повторно летавшим кораблем, если бы сами не знаете, что если бы не два взрыва в Flight 7 и Flight 8, если бы он сам не разлетелся еще перед полетом. А вот, собственно. И взрыв.
Yeah, probably. I mean, even the other day when they... Whoa!
Whoa! What? That's not good.
No!
Oh my god. It appears there has been a
Ship
row.
36 just blew up. Yeah, probably.
Аномалия произошла во время заправки перед деятельным прошивком 6 двигателей. Можно заметить, что разрыв начался в районе грузовой отсека, где проходит майстра, и до носовых баков находятся композитные баллоны высокого давления, кое-какие. Вот. В среду 18 июня примерно в 23:00 по центральному времени Starship, готовящийся к 10-му испытательному полету, столкнулся с серьезной аномальной испытательной площадке в Starbase. Вокруг площадки была обеспечена безопасная зона, все сотрудники и в безопасности. Наша команда в Starbase активно работает над обеспечением безопасности. Ну, короче, тут да, только про безопасность. Но, кстати, есть и хорошие новости. SpaceX наконец-то смогли открыть люк грузового отсека, но есть нюанс. Он тупо вылетел. Starship V2, 4 аварии 4 пусков. Да, трэш. Если коротко ну, короче, думали даже, возможно, то, что больше не будет запусков Starship V2, потому что повреждения Месси были прям очень сильными, но SpaceX довольно быстро вышел из ситуации и построили просто тестовый стант и установили его на орбитальную стартовую площадку, чтобы прожигать Старшипы там. Поэтому полеты V2 все-таки будут. А вот, кстати, прожиг буквально за один день до взрыва прожиг одного двигателя на SHIP-36. А вот SHIP-36 на Мессе еще до взрыва. Так, тут что? Кстати, очень повезло то, что загрузка метаном составила менее 10%. Если бы полностью его загрузили метаном, было бы намного хуже. Вот, по предварительным данным указывали на то, что азотный КОЭПВ, то есть баллон высокого давления в грузовом отсеке, вышел из строя при давлении ниже расчетного. Кстати, так и оказалось в итоге. Ну вот, собственно, как выглядела Месси после этого взрыва. Обновление по статическому огню Starship. Ну, поэтому прожигу. После завершения статического прожига с одним двигателем ранее аппарат находился в процессе загрузки гелиевого топлива для статического огня 6 двигателями. Когда внезапное энергетическое событие привело к полной потере Starship и повреждению прилегающей территории вокруг стенда. Взрыв вызвал несколько пожаров на испытательном объекте, который оставался свободным от персонала. Как и перед любым Так, понятно. Тут про безопасность, как всегда, пипец сколько написано. Инженерные команды активно расследовали инцидент и следовали установленным процедурам для определения корневой причины. Вот первичный анализ указывал на возможный отказ баллона КОЭПВ, композитного баллона под давлением, содержащего газообразный озон в носовой части Starship. Ну, кстати, так и оказалось в итоге, как уже говорилось. Нет, а где? Айо. До и после взрыва SHIP-36. Также кадры Месси после взрыва SHIP-36. Раптор номер 524. Носовой обтекатель. Также сильно повреждена ферма топлива. Носовой бак. Вот насколько сильно из обтекателя выбросил носовой бак для метана. Вот носовой бак для жидкого кислорода. И, собственно, взорванный носовой обтекатель. А вот и тот разорванный баллон КПВ, который и взорвался. Ну, а вот еще кадры взрыва. Это мы видели уже. Вот, собственно, вот эти баллоны КПВ. Их можно рассмотреть на фото из отсека SHIP-35. Они изнутри на стенках обведены красными. Ну вот, собственно, сами баллоны КПВ. Это баллоны КПВ с гелием. И с азотом. Ну, часть с гелием, часть с азотом. И прямо между ними две топливные места. Из посадочного бака, идущие в двигательный отсек через баки с кислородом и метаном, отмечены желтым. Вот. В этом месте и был зафиксирован взрыв. Сами баллоны КПВ производятся сторонней компанией. А значит, вины SpaceX в этом взрыве на самом деле нету. Ремонт Месси до сих пор продолжается и уже занял больше 2 месяцев и займет еще некоторое время. Ну, как и предполагается, что он займет несколько месяцев. Это вот выкатка Ship 37 уже на модернизированную суборбитальную площадку. Ну, орбитальную для прожига. Это у нас было 29 июля уже. А вот, собственно, вот такую вот штуку нацепили на Quick Disconnect на корабле, чтобы, ну, можно было соединить его с модифицированным бустер Quick Disconnect. Вот она, Ship 37, а это Ship 38 уже. Вот, в конце июля, 29 июля, также предполагалось то, что запуск Starship состоится в конце августа, и как раз спустя месяц так и происходит. Еще буквально 3 месяца назад такую картину можно было представить только в страшном бреду, но SpaceX доказали, что вновь могут решать проблемы нестандартными методами и очень быстро. Ведь от взрыва Ship 36 до прожига Ship 37 на вот орбитальном стартовом столе произошло всего лишь 44 дня. Вот также видео установки Ship 37 на орбитальную стартовую площадку. Зрелище очень диковатое. Starship стоит на стартовой площадке, как будто сам без первой ступени собрался лететь в космос. Так, давайте сюда. Ой, нет, короче, пока сюда. А вот, собственно, уже прожиг Ship 37 сначала с одним двигателем, который у нас состоялся 31 июля.
Wow.
Сам тест продлился около 6 секунд с использованием видеораптора для теста схода с орбиты. Стоит также сказать, что с водой очень сильно перестарались. Система подавления, которая рассчитана на работу 33 двигателей при 80% тяги, слегка избыточна для работы одного двигателя при 40%, но работает с тем, что имеет. В начале августа Илон Маск заявил то, что 10-й полет состоится в середине августа, ну в итоге в конце. Тест системы подавления на стартовой площадке перед прожигом уже 6 двигателей на SHIP-37. Ну и сам прожиг. Ну а вот, собственно, снятие корабля SHIP-37 уже с орбитальной стартовой площадки. Прожиг, кстати, был не длительный, не 60 секунд, как раньше, но тут ограничение времени подачи воды на этой площадке. Также были слухи, то, что до 10-го полета, возможно, сразу бы прожгли и SHIP-38, но этого так и не произошло. А это у нас уже процесс разборки трубопроводов адаптера пусковой установки для статического огневого испытания корабля на площадке Starbase. После, собственно, прожига SHIP-37. и снятие самого стенда для прожига. Ну, адаптера для статических прожигов Starship. Ему даже дали название Star Stall. И, кстати, после снятия его практически сразу же вернули обратно на орбитальную стартовую площадку. Кстати, говорилось в августе, то, что очень великий шанс, то, что запуск Старшипа сядет на начало сентября. Но, как мы видим, этого все-таки не произошло. И, кстати, вот после вроде как успешного прожига Старшипа С-37 на временном стенде под А действительно была высокая уверенность, но не подтверждение, что запуск во второй половине августа в Сирии. Хотя он в итоге все-таки в Сирии. Увы, уже после возвращения корабля в высотный цех во время инспекции всплыли новые проблемы. Снова двигатель Раптор Вакуум, на этот раз под номером 513. Раньше также упоминалось, что прожиг Starship на под А это новая процедура и могут вылезти иные проблемы. На тот момент также думали то, что это может быть из-за переотражения ударных волн внутри стола под А. Проблемы с Раптор Вакуум могли усугубиться еще сильнее. Поэтому еще один прожиг, ну, думали то, что произойдет еще один прожиг. Но нет, там всего лишь поменяли один двигатель и сделали ему спин прайм. Даже не делали прожиг этому двигателю. Вот, ну и Шип 37 тоже очень быстро повезли обратно на стартовую площадку. Вот, после замены одного двигателя Раптор Вакуум провели спин прайм одного двигателя. А вот, кстати, металлическая плитка на корабле Ship 37. Остается надеяться, что SpaceX с 4-го раза смогут собрать нормальные данные по их работе при входе в атмосферу целиком. Короче, да, вот эта металлическая плитка с активным охлаждением. И, кстати, при первой попытке спин прайма был у нас также аборт. Ну, то есть его частично загрузили в него топливо, а потом слили обратно. После чего рабочие заменили протекающий криогенный гибкий шланг за ночь. Вот, собственно, в нем и была проблема. А вот и сам спин прайм одного двигателя. Нет, это... Так, подождите. Это мы все уже проходили. Это что? Это, кстати, установка системы FTS на бустер 16. План полета Flight 10. Попытка старта подтверждена на сегодняшний день. План этого полета практически копия предыдущего запуска. Основная задача с 4-го раза собрать данные по работе теплового щита на Ship 37. Ключевые детали Flight 10. Перед последним запуск ускорителя из текущего блока Super Heavy Booster 16. SpaceX подтвердили, что возвращение ускорителя Super Heavy Booster 16 на бачьем изделия снова не планируется. Будет попытка посадки в американский залив. Скоро снова будет попытка горячего разделения с контролируемым разворотом ускорителя в нужном направлении, как во время Flight 9. Для этого на кольце Hot Stage Right и закрыли некоторые прорези для направления потока газа от корабля. После первого тормозного маневра снова будет попробовать новый профиль полета ускорителя под более высоким углом. Это еще одна попытка оптимизации расхода топлива для посадки за счет более сильного торможения в атмосфере. В прошлый раз бусты 14.2 потеряли именно на этом этапе. Этот тест также необходим для сбора данных и оптимизации профиля полета и посадки следующего блока ускорителя Super Heavy Booster 3. В рамках еще одного теста снова попробует экстренный сценарий посадки, ну, как уже говорилось, по двигателям. Тесты корабля Starship S-37. Вновь будет попытка выгрузки 8 массогабаритных макетов станет В3. Слово эксперименты с тепловой защитой. Снова в рамках ввода в атмосферу будут тестировать функциональные пилоны для посадки корабля на башню. Скошенные плитки по краям должны помочь терморегуляции обшивки. Профиль входа в атмосферу также должен будет протестировать максимальную нагрузку на нижние плавники. Успех не гарантирован, но точно будет весело. А вот выкатка Booster 16 на стартовую площадку. И установка на стартовый стол, это уже перед самим запуском. После 2 переносов, 5 ходов, в 4 утра в понедельник ты сидишь с пустой кружкой кофе и смотришь, как Шип-37 крутится 150 оборотов в минуту над Мадагаскаром. Ну, уже не в понедельник, а вот считай, сегодня во вторник. Я сейчас не собираюсь разбираться, что у вас в чате там происходит, но сразу говорю, любой спам мне бан навсегда получите. Спамить можете в любое другое время, но не тогда, когда я стримы провожу. Вот, собственно, едем дальше. Это, короче, открытие двери Ship 37 для, собственно, загрузки в него макетов спутников Starlink. 8 макетов спутников Starlink V3. Вот также Ship 37. Двигатели Ship 37 при транспортировке на стартовую площадку. И официальный кадр перевозки Ship 37 на стартовую площадку. Макеты полей загрузки пытаются впервые вырваться из носового обтекателя. Тестовый полет 47. Да, трэш. Ну а вот, собственно, стыковка Ship 37 с Booster 16. Двигатель Ship 37. Уже когда он был установлен на Booster 16. О, вот инфографика. Но это не та инфографика. Мне эта инфографика не нравится. Там будет другая, вот по ней и расскажу. Тесты плавников корабля Starship вчера за почти 11 часов до запуска. Сиденья ХЛС, которые планировали показать на презентации по Starship, которая должна была произойти вчера сначала за 2,5 часа до запуска, потом перенести на 1,5 часа до запуска. В итоге ее отменили вообще эту презентацию. Просто красивые фотки. Зачем использовать полицейскую машину, если просто можно заблокировать дорогу стендом для транспортировки ускорителей? Также Илон Маск сделал заявление о том, что примерно через 6 или... Вы издеваетесь? Вы издеваетесь или как там? Вы, блин, кочерышки хреновы. Где ты? Короче, так вот, Илон Маск заявил то, что через 6 или 7 лет явно произойдет день, когда Starship запустят за один день более чем 24 раза. Вот. Вот инфографика, которая мне нравится. Вот, 10-й полет Starship S-37. И вообще, вот, сейчас идем к тому, что уже из себя нынешний Starship представляет. Starship — это двухступенчатая ракета-носитель сверхтяжелого класса, разработанная компанией SpaceX. Вот. Состоит, собственно, из сверхтяжелого ускорителя Super Heavy Booster и корабля, который, ну, так и называется просто корабль, или шип. Вот, сам шип 37, это у нас вторая версия уже. Он имеет высоту 52 метра, диаметр 9 метров, пустой вес 135 тонн, вес топлива 1500 тонн. Имеет 3 двигателя, вакуумных 3 двигателя Раптор и 3 двигателя Раптор для работы на уровне моря. Двигатель Раптор для работы на уровне моря имеет тягу в 230 тонн и удельный импульс 330 секунд. Двигатели же вакуумные имеют тягу в 269 тонн и удельный импульс в 380 секунд. Они работают на жидком метане и жидком кислороде. Всех сейчас заблокирую. Так вот, да. Полезная загрузка 8 макетов спутников Starlink. Собственно, вот у нас, как мы видим, бак для жидкого метана наверху, бак для жидкого кислорода внизу. Вот, собственно, двигатель. На всех с двигателем Раптор нижние два плавника и верхние два плавника. И наверху посадочные баки для жидкого кислорода и посадочный бак для жидкого метана. И вот так, собственно, идут трубопроводы на двигатель. Раньше, кстати, этот трубопровод тут был один, а сейчас зачем-то на блок 2 сделали то, что каждому двигателю подводится отдельный трубопровод, вот этот вакуумный, из-за которых и, кстати, взорвался корабль в 7-м полете. Далее у нас идет кольцо для горячего разделения, поскольку у нас сейчас происходит зажигание двигателя второй ступени, когда она еще прикреплена к первой ступени. Это кольцо горячего разделения нужно для того, чтобы через вот эти отверстия могли выходить газы от двигателей. Далее, первая ступень, Super Heavy Booster. Имеет высоту 71 метр, диаметр также 9 метров, пустой вес примерно 275 тонн, стартовый вес 3400 тонн. Там установится 33 двигателя Раптор для уровня моря с общей тягой 7590 тонн и удельным импульсом, как уже говорил, 330 секунд, который также, понятное дело, работает на жидком метане и жидком кислороде. Вот, собственно, наверху также установлено 4 решетчатых руля для контролирования, для контроля ориентации на первой ступени при возвращении обратно на Землю. Вот также наверху бак для жидкого метана и внизу бак для жидкого кислорода и трубопровод. И также вот сразу же тут монтирован посадочный бак для жидкого кислорода и для жидкого метана. И 33 двигателя Раптор. Это у нас бустер Quick Disconnect, через который, собственно, происходит заправка топливом, а на корабле он вот. Ну и также, собственно, дверца грузового отсека на корабле. Собственно, вот такое расположение. 3 атмосферных двигателя на корабле и 3 вакуумных. Кстати, на блок 2 верхние плавники смещены вот так вот на 30 градусов. И, собственно, на ускорителе 4 вот так расположены решетчатых руля и двигатели. Внутри 3 двигателя Раптор, дальше 10 двигателей и на внешнем кольце 20 двигателей Раптор. Кстати, внешние 20 двигателей Раптор не имеют отклоняемого вектора тяги. А также двигатели Раптор умеют дрессировать свою мощность примерно до 40% тяги. Вот, собственно, Раптор Вакуум, он также не имеет вектора тяги. Раптор Централ, вот этот атмосферный с вектором тяги. И Раптор Бустер на вот это, на ускорителе из вот этого кольца с 20 двигателями, который не имеет вектора тяги. Также. А вот так выглядит теплозащитный экран корабля Ship 37. Можно заметить, что плитки ударены в некоторых очень чувствительных местах. Вторая фотография. Ну вот. Даже на самом обтекателе. И на плавниках. На Ну вот, на кожу наплывов плавников. Предки снимают таким образом уже 4-й раз, начиная с 7-го летного испытания. Но за все 3 предыдущих полета корабль ни разу нормально не добрался до этапа входа в атмосферу. Вы и планы. Я сейчас закрою нафиг свой аккаунт для всех. И вы хрен меня найдете где. Для начала сделаем вот так. Где? Да ё-моё. Вот. Раз. Вот здесь. Два. Далее. Облачный. Я же могу просто звонки выключить, все, и фиг вам. Я дебил, блин. Так, едем дальше. Ну вот, собственно, сколько много плиток снято. Вот даже вот здесь. Даже вот тут вот. Вот, главный риск сегодняшнего запуска Starship — вход корабля Ship-37 в атмосферу. Во-первых, по этой итерации теплового щита и конструкции верхних плавников до сих пор нет нормальных данных. При этом на каждом корабле В2 был ряд доработок по тепловому щиту, которые до сих пор не проверили. Последний успешный вход и посадка корабля Starship в атмосферу была в ноябре 2024 года с прототипом Ship-31 еще в 6-м полете. Во-вторых, как и предыдущие попытки, SpaceX сняли под 100 плиток в самых разных местах, в том числе критических. Скорее всего, это отработка среднеплохого сценария на случай потери плиток в разных местах во время полета, но повреждения могут быть критическими. Внимательно следим за аэродинамическими накладками у плавников. В-третьих, более высокий угол атаки на высоте 40-65 км сильно повысит нагрузку на конструкцию в особой зоне риска. Нижние плавники, с которых также сняли плитки с нижних ребер, именно их будут усиленно тестировать в этот раз. Эта часть плавников будет подтверждена нагреву и потоку горячих газов, особенно из-за профиля входа в этот раз. Если Starship S-37 сможет пережить вход в этот раз, то это сильно улучшит оценку рисков живучести корабля, особенно перед попыткой посадки на базе, которую, скорее всего, мы увидим только с В3 уже. Ну и вот, собственно, вчера у нас был холд на 40 минутах сначала, а затем и перенос. Вот, отмена вчерашнего 10-го запуска Starship для выделения времени на устранение проблемы с наземными системами. А вот, вместо презентации, что мы увидели, блин, вместо презентации? Где? Блин. Вчера прокатали спуском и презентацией, но главный инженер в лучшей традиции рандомного поста просто взял и выложил одну из линий производства Starship и Super Heavy на Starbase. Перед нами заготовки для как минимум 11 новых кораблей, включая аж Ship 49 и несколько наборов секций для Super Heavy версион 3. И это только малая часть завода Star Factory.
Right, here I am at the Starship factory. It's Starbase, Texas, right by the Rio Grande. You can see the barrel sections of Starship being built. These are 9-meter barrel sections, about 30 feet in diameter. And those are the nose cones. This is the largest flying object ever made. It has twice the mass of a Saturn V and will have ultimately 3 times the thrust. So, pretty epic.
Команды работали ночью над рычагом Ship Quick Disconnect, чтобы отремонтировать неисправные компоненты, которые вызвали утечку жидкого кислорода во время попытки запуска вчера. Ну, просто 32 тераптора на пусто 16. Илон лично приехал на проверку Ship Quick Disconnect и также подтвердил, что полет состоится сегодня. А вот новая неофициальная, но хоть какая-то новая анимация по Старшипу. Также вот буквально 50 минут назад была испытана система подавления под стартовой площадкой. Ну и в целом это вся информация по этому полету, который у нас произойдет уже менее чем через 1,5 часа.
Welcome everybody joining us on the Popular Science channel. We are NASAspaceflight.com. We're NSF. We're bringing you live coverage of Starship Flight 10 from Starbase in Texas. My name is Ryan Caton. Thank you very much for joining us this, I suppose it's evening now, approaching evening local time. Alongside me, we have Adrian and Alex, and we are all anticipating the launch of the most powerful rocket. There's Adrian. We are anticipating... There's Alex. We're anticipating the launch of the most powerful rocket ever manufactured by humanity, which is, yeah, quite the saying to say. And yeah, fingers crossed, we continue counting down. We've been watching the weather. We've been watching some interesting GSE shenanigans over the past few days. This is, of course, the second attempt at this launch. Alex, where are we with the current countdown? T-minus 1 hour and 27 minutes.
Well, the chill down of the tank farm is still continuing. We are getting close to when we should see the start of chill down of the launch mount lines and the launch tower lines. We should see that tower vent and launch mount vent coming up in just a few minutes. Usually around the 1 hour, 20 minute / 1 hour 10-minute mark. It's a bit of a window, if you will, when that happens. But it should happen within 6 to 16 minutes from now, so we should be very close. Of course, that is in the case that they are still going for the opening of the window, which, to be fair, we don't have yet any sort of indication of something to the contrary, right? Like, we still are aiming for the opening of the window. So far, everything looks to be on for the opening of the window at 6:30 p.m. Central Time. That will be 23:30 UTC. And let's see what happens in just a few minutes from now if we get that chill down.
Indeed, and we were speaking about the clouds. In fact, I think we should take a little bit of a deeper dive into the clouds and see what the weather has been doing for the last few days. Or very quickly, I believe, Alex, we may have just heard some information about the roadblock, which is moving, perhaps?
Yeah, we were talking earlier about how, they set up these 3 roadblocks. One of them is the last one before you go to Boca Chica Beach, right? That's the one with the LBJ Boulevard intersection. And that one has been emptied. You can see there on the top center view, the top left view, the one right above me, that is the one at Richardson Avenue. That's the one that's going to be kept pretty much all the way through until either the S word, as we say, right? We don't want to jinx it, and or they go for a launch, and then they launch, and then they clear everything and save the pad and all that. But yeah, that roadblock is now vacated. Everybody has left because it's still inside of the blast danger area. So that means we are still proceeding. We are still going down the count. And everything is getting ready for propellant load. Because again, once that thing gets loaded with propellant, the blast danger area reaches that point. It is not safe for comfort. It's too close for comfort, I should say. There are some employees a little bit further out. You can see there's the Star Factory and the office building by SpaceX, but that's further away even from the launch site.
Yeah, and if we just flick back. Oh, my background has magically changed. I wonder how that happened. Anyways, let's take a look at how the weather is doing in Starbase. The green, we don't really have to worry about. The thing we're most concerned about are the oranges, the yellows, the reds. Those could be indicating lightning storms, which of course, historically, famously, not great for rockets. So let's just take a quick look at the past 2 hours cycled up to now. We're seeing a few things developing over south of the border, moving north over Brownsville towards Starbase. The actual, the worst parts of these storms are pretty much skipping Starbase, which is nice, but they're kind of moving directly towards the Margaritaville Hotel, which is one of the locations where Das and Jack will be watching the launch from in an hour and a half time, which means they've had to delay their setup a little bit. So SpaceX, not that big of a problem right now. For us, a little bit of a problem getting things set up. So even though those things have now started tracking north and are not really a concern for the launch at this moment in time, you do have to remember these storms have big anvil clouds. They sometimes arch over particular places, and as we were seeing from some of our cameras a moment ago, those clouds are arching over the launch site. So whether there'll be a concern, we'll just have to wait and see in terms of that there. So it was crossed there, not, but yeah, storms are developing, doing usual Texas summer stuff, but they are kind of pushing north at this point, moving out of the way. Fingers crossed some more stable air will follow. We'll just have to wait and see. Anyways, at this point, we of course need somewhere for Starship to go today, Adrian. Where is Starship going to be going?
Well, I can tell you not to orbit. That is the first thing I want to point out, because this is once again a test flight, and then we see this beautiful animation that will actually show it. We are going south, basically southeast, passing over Africa, and in an ideal case, SpaceX will start to do a re-entering with Starship over the Indian Ocean, and then also perform a splashdown after a flip and burn in the Indian Ocean. That would be the optimal flight profile. Of course, we have seen, let's say, deviations from that of the optimal flight profile in the last few flights, as they had some issues, but I'm hopeful that we will see this flight profile, and I kind of want to quickly transition here to the fact that we are progressing in this timeline, Ryan, because what we are seeing right now is the start of the OLM vent, which is the beginning of the chill down for the pad. So at this point, that's amazing news. They are preparing to propellant load on the booster.
That is, of course, something we love to see. But Alex, there's no tower vent. What's going on?
Yeah. Yeah, that caught my eye. As I said before, it's usually the other way around. It's usually the tower vent first and then the OLM vent. So,
Tower vent is going.
Is it going? Is it going?
Yeah, it's very, like, sometimes with humidity
Very
and everything,
tiny.
yeah, some vents are really weird to see. But there you can see it in the middle. That's the tower vent.
There we go, there we go. Okay.
Barely making a scratch.
Well, 2 vents going on now.
Yeah. We're getting excited. I hope everybody in chat is getting excited. The field team, even though they kind of had to wait for the rain to go away, they're still getting excited. A few people who will also be getting excited right now is everybody watching from our friends over at the Rocket Ranch Outpost. Let's throw it over to DY's out in the field because I think we might have some people getting excited right now. Barely, 3 odd miles away from the launch pad.
Good afternoon, everybody, from the Rocket Ranch Outpost for take 2 of Starship Flight 10. About 3.5 miles from the launch complex. The weather's looking a little bit iffy, but it looks to be clearing up just enough. We are feeling very confident now. We are not that far away from SpaceX team's polling go or no go for propellant load. Very exciting, very happy to be here, and thanks again to the Rocket Ranch and Anthony Gomez in particular for having us out here again. Folks, we say it all the time, space flight brings in people from all over the globe, and today is certainly no exception as we have a very special NSF fan with us. Sam and his mom Joanna in from the UK nonetheless, a very, very long ways away. Sam, how are you feeling? Are you happy to be here?
Extremely. I mean, I know the place inside out, and it's so amazing to actually be here in person. I can't wait for Starship Flight 10 to fly in 1 hour, 20 minutes.
There's this buzz in the air, isn't it? It's such a special place. And like we've talked about, you can get really close to the rocket. Like, we weren't joking, right? You can get really close.
Yeah, wow.
So, with it happening very soon, what are you hoping to see and what are you expecting? Because you are I talked to you before, like you're very well versed in what you want to know and what you want to look for. Okay. So how are you feeling? Like, what do you want to look for?
I'm so excited. If I'm being honest, I haven't tracked the program for a huge amount of time. I've been tracking it since Flight 4.
Okay.
And yeah, the booster, I'm expecting it to get through its engine tests during landing burn. As for the ship, they need to get it splashed down, at least halfway through re-entry, through peak heating. I really hope they do. I'm personally not too worried about the TPS tests they're doing. I know they're stressing the ship, which is good because if you have crew on board, and yeah, you lose some TPS tiles, you want to know how many you lose. So I'm glad they're doing these tests, but I just really hope they do still make it down and the ship does make it through.
You and I both, and I told you, very well versed. Sam has done his research, and I'm sure Joanna, you have as well. Are you happy to be here?
You are the expert. Yeah, it's just incredible. For me, when that ship rolled past me, I was like, wow. Because when Sam was saying about coming here, I was like, well, if we don't see a launch, is there anything still to see? I was like, yeah. I just couldn't, yeah, just incredible.
There's magic in the air here whenever Starship is ready to fly. And we say that all the time, and it sounds kind of cliche now, but Sam and Joanna have hopefully shown you that this is real. There is something magical in the air, and we cannot wait to see Starship fly, hopefully in about 1 hour and 10-ish minutes time. I don't have a clock on me that's really accurate. My watch is kind of off, but you know. Guys, we are so excited to be here, and thank you so much for coming along. And thank you again to the Rocket Ranch Outpost for having us, for launch viewing, and for supporting all of our live streams here, and for Sam and Joanna for coming all the way from the UK just to watch Starship fly. Guys, come to Florida next. You'll see rockets fly a lot more often. And before you know it, Starship will be there very soon. Yeah. So, Sam, Joanna, thank you so much for being on, and I will throw it back to you guys in the studio.
The rocket, of course, getting excited, or rather, should we say, the vents are getting excited. We could hear it there on the microphone. Awesome, always to hear from spaceflight fans like Sam, watching from the outpost from our friends Rocket Ranch. Of course, if you ever want to go and see a launch in person at Starbase, Rocket Ranch it's Rocket Ranch or South Padre Isle, I think. in my opinion. It's just it's incredible how close you can get to a rocket that is on a publicly accessible road. Like, how many times can we say that this is unprecedented access SpaceX is providing to the public? You can literally, until when the road is open, I'll put it, you can literally drive up to the side of this rocket. I mean, it's just absolutely berserk how close you can get to the most powerful flying machine ever manufactured, ever in the history of the world, ever, right? I mean, just incredible.
I have two things I'm taking away from that interview.
Of course, Max Evans out at the outpost. Adrian, I'll throw it over to you.
I'm taking two things away from this interview. A, amazing performance by Sam, very, very eloquent on camera, absolutely fantastic. And two, Max has not managed to fix his watch 2 days in a row. That's my two takeaways.
He probably needs to get on that. During that time, though, we got a huge amount of support. First of all, we had a $150 tip. If I can find it, here it is, from Isaac R. I mean, seriously, this is someone who is this isn't the first time they've tipped, and this is direct support straight to us that goes straight into the cameras. Not straight into the cameras. They go into investing into more cameras, investing into more network infrastructure. We just could not do this without your guys' support, and huge bits of support like that is just, we are incredibly, incredibly grateful. Jack does a much better job at thanking people than I do, but yeah, that's just, there's no words for how much support we get. And it's not just Isaac either. We have so many people in chat. We have Nigel as well for the Ship 26 Memorial Fund. I'm not sure if I'd contribute to that either. And we also have Michael as well with a 25 tip as well. Thank you very much for the tips at tips.nasaspaceflight.com. It is so we're so grateful for it. And with that, I think we should probably address a few more questions we've been seeing in chat. First of all, there was a question from Stars saying that they're seeing a plane flying around, but Alex, I believe that's one of the range planes that's flying around that we usually see. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's already even landed. It should be airborne again soon, if I'm not mistaken. At least that's what the usual tracking sites are saying. So yeah, probably part of the whole range stuff. It's a very small plane. If I'm not mistaken, I think is Beechcraft. I don't remember exactly the name. I looked it up earlier and I was like, I'm gonna try and remember it, and I don't fully remember it exactly. Yeah, Beach King Air. There we go. So yeah, it's not a it's not the WB-57, for example, right? It's just a smaller plane that probably SpaceX rents out or maybe owns for this kind of purposes, probably, because it was out there on the Gulf, probably looking at boats and whatnot. So we'll see. But yeah, it's not a huge thing.
I can see someone in chat called Jack Bayer saying Sam Fan Club. I wonder who that is. But yeah, many people in chat are a big fan of the Sam Fan Club. I will join the Sam Fan Club. Of course, all of the support that we've been getting, it goes to so many different sites we've only been able to acquire because of that support. So I think whilst we of course saw Max and Sam at the Rocket Ranch Outpost NSF, we have our own sites dotted around Starbase as well. We have our River site, which is just down the road from the Outpost, actually, where Roger and a few other people will be watching the launch this evening. Fingers crossed it goes ahead. We of course then have SpaceX's production site, and just down the road from that we have our highway site. Believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, on the highway, there we go. As Alex was saying, that top right view is from the highway site. And we can see the launch site there. We actually have our trailer positioned in the media zone at the launch site there, which is the middle view you can see. We have our north site as well, top left view. Thank you, Alex, is coming from the north site there. And we also have our south site as well. Interestingly, these are only accessible from the beach, so we actually have to park on the beach and kind of trail our way out to these sites. Well, I don't have to. People like Jack have to in the mosquito-infested air. It's not incredibly pleasant sometimes. I'll leave it at that. But there you go. All of your support means that we can make Jack walk through mosquito-infested air. Let's leave it with that. Anyways, we're approaching as 1 hour and 11 minutes to go. Things are looking good so far. But for the time being, I think we should probably recap how we have gotten to 10 flights of the world's most powerful rocket.
SpaceX has had a long journey to get to the 10th flight test of Starship. They've had explosions, amazing re-entries, catches of boosters, and even a reuse of a booster. But with 3 straight flight failures for Block 2 of Ship, all eyes are on Ship 37 to break the curse and complete all objectives. Let's start at the beginning. After many tests, Booster 7 and Ship 24 lifted off on April 20th, 2023, and the flight did not go well. However, expectations were merely to clear the tower. Booster 7 instantly had 3 engines out and would lose more during ascent. With these lost engines and a fire in the engine bay, the full stack would only reach 40 kilometers before it ripped itself apart. Also during the launch process, a hole under the launch mount was formed because the water deluge system had not yet been installed. The lessons learned from this flight paved the way for Ship 25 and Booster 9. This set of vehicles would require significantly less testing due to the data already gathered from Flight 1. Following the hole in the ground, SpaceX beefed up the foundation of Pad A and installed a deluge plate to help dampen sound and protect the launch pad. Another new addition was the hot stage ring on top of the booster. Before even testing their original stage separation idea, SpaceX switched to hot staging. Flight 2 fared far better than Flight 1. The full stack lifted off November 18th, 2023, and Booster 9 had all 33 engines running for the entire ascent. The hot staging worked perfectly, and Ship 25 started towards space. Unfortunately, Booster 9 was lost during boostback burn due to ice in the tanks, and Ship 25 was lost due to a fire in the aft section just before second stage cutoff, or SECO. This wouldn't be the last time a ship was lost due to fires in the aft section. Flight 3, which launched on March 14, 2024, would improve on Flight 2, with Booster 10 getting past the boostback burn and getting all the way to the landing burn. However, the booster was lost shortly after landing due to possible ice ingestion into the liquid oxygen turbopump inlets, just like Booster 9's boostback burn. Ship 28 then made it all the way to SECO, but lost attitude control and performed an uncontrolled re-entry. Flight 4, which launched on June 6, 2024, was once again an improvement, where Booster 11 completed its entire mission profile and performed a soft splashdown in the water. Ship 29 completed its ascent burn, its coast face, and a full control re-entry. The only blemish for Ship 29 was that it had a decent amount of burn through on its heat shield, even almost losing a forward flap. Despite this, it provided uninterrupted live views of re-entry, which is something no one had ever seen before. Next up was Flight 5, and with Booster 11 having completed its soft splashdown, SpaceX decided to catch the booster. This flight also had an upgraded heat shield for Ship 30 to better survive re-entry by introducing an ablative layer under the tiles. This flight would launch October 13, 2024, and to date is still the most successful flight in the Starship program. Booster 12 completed its entire mission profile and was caught back on the launch tower, and the booster is currently in Mega Bay 1 getting prepped for display. Ship 30 completed all of its objectives and performed a perfect re-entry and landed right on target in the Indian Ocean. Then came Flight 6 November 19, 2024, which was the last flight of Block 1 of Starship. Booster 13 completed ascent, however due to a tower issue, it couldn't perform a catch. Ship 31 completed all of its objectives and performed an on-target splashdown in the Indian Ocean. SpaceX has yet to have a ship since Ship 31 perform an on-target landing or controlled re-entry. After the success of Block 1, things took a few steps back for Block 2 of the ship. Flight 7, which launched January 16, 2025, had Booster 14 repeat a catch like Booster 12 and complete all aspects of its mission. Ship 33, however, was lost before SECO due to harmonic vibrations in the engine section. These vibrations caused leaks, which led to fires in the aft section of the ship, which led to it exploding on ascent. Next up was Flight 8 on March 6, 2025, featuring Booster 15 and Ship 34. Booster 15 completed a nearly perfect flight and was caught, making 3 caught boosters for SpaceX. Ship 34, however, had an issue with a center raptor that led to leaks and another fire in the engine section, and the ship was lost before SECO. After losing 2 ships back to back before getting to SECO, a lot was riding on Ship 35 on Flight 9. With a pairing of Ship 35 and Booster 14-2, yes, a reflown booster, Flight 9 lifted off May 27, 2025. Booster 14-2 completed almost all of its objectives, but was lost on landing burn startup because SpaceX was trying to push the limits of the booster and it didn't survive. Ship 35 got past Seco, but it lost control during the coast phase due to a methane gas leak into the payload bay and was lost during an uncontrolled re-entry. Well, here we are at Flight 10. SpaceX is using Ship 37 and Booster 16 on this flight, which we all hope will be successful.
And that was, of course, Sawyer Rosenstein with the fantastic recap as we now count through 1 hour, 6 minutes and 15 seconds to go. Fingers crossed that's how long it takes. We've also been getting some more support. Of course, we've been getting some more support. We've got 2 people joining the launch director level of membership. Zach and Trevor, thank you so much. Jeff with the $10. No message, but just a $10. We also have Eugen with the $10 super chat as well. KJ, thank you very much for support as well. I'm not sure Jack would appreciate that one. Noel J, I think Noel J has done another round of 50 Red Team memberships, so that would be 100 Red Team memberships from one person in the span of 5 minutes. That's just Noel J, thank you so much. And of course, if you receive one of them, thank Noel in chat as well. We also have Chininator, sorry if I pronounced that incorrectly, saying it's my birthday, fingers crossed Starship launches and it's successful. Fingers crossed it is indeed. Happy birthday. Redeem, again, people just throwing support at us but with no message. Thank you so much, just with the rocket emoji. It's incredible. Thank you so much for the support. Stefano, thank you for the support. Turtle, thank you for the support as well. It's greatly appreciated. And Rocket Scientist one with the $20 was I think this is probably about Sam at the Rocket Ranch Outpost, so they're a big fan as well. I think they're in the Sam fan club. Jeff Rowe, one of those, always in chat as well. Always in chat, and a Red Team membership. People joining the PadRap membership. Of course, I believe any member of any level of membership has access to our behind-the-scenes multi-view. The behind-the-scenes multi-view. You can hear Kevin talking in our ears, which is annoying for us. It might be pleasurable for you. We also have James with the $10. Thank you so much. And the Douglas Piranha. Sorry if I'm not sure how to pronounce your first name. Thank you so much for the $15 tip. At tips.nasaspaceflight.com. Please never feel bad at all for that level of support. Please never feel bad. Even just liking the stream. I mean, it's all we ask for. We want to fight those spam channels. We're bringing you quality. I think it's quality. It's got my face on quality content. Please just liking the stream. I know we say it a million times, and it's very annoying, but it's the least you can do. To try and put our stuff in front of as many people as possible. And with that, we can see Starship still under some cloudy skies. But Alex, I think from this camera's perspective, I can see 4. I've got the OLM vent, the tower vent, the Pope vent, and then something else going on at the tank farm.
Yeah, there's a bunch of things going on in the tank farm. Of course, they are getting ready for propellant load. If all is still on track for the opening of the window at 6:30 p.m. Central, then we should have ship fuel load in about 10 minutes from now at the T-minus 53-minute mark. Of course, we also need a confirmation from SpaceX that they are proceeding into the propellant load, because they could just stay in this state for a long time. Chill down is one of those things that they can just keep going and going and going until they are ready to go, right? And so there's no guarantee, which is what I'm trying to mean here. There's no guarantee that we are indeed going to go into a propellant load until SpaceX actually confirms that. So we'll see if that comes.
Received any indication from SpaceX that they are go for propellant load. That usually comes around this time. We are waiting for that. We have indicators such as those vents which are pointing towards the fact that propellant load could be happening shortly. Adrian, I believe if that go were to be given, that should happen in about 9 minutes time.
That is correct. Sometimes they do it a bit earlier. Like, it feels like sometimes if they are feeling like very confident, they just blast through it basically and basically give it a go very early. However, we know the weather is iffy, and I see the clouds right next to me here. There could be a situation where they want to wait as close as they can before they really commit, because honestly, I don't want to jinx it. I really don't. But if I have ever seen a weather that I would call at least ominous for rocket launches, it's these clouds. Because these are definitely some sort of level of clouds, like annual clouds, that you usually don't want to launch through. So I think I don't wanna preempt this, but I could see that we are getting in a bit of a weather dance.
I mean, it's ominous clouds for an ominous rocket. I mean, they're kind of what's the word the kids use these days? Their aura matches up. I just died inside. I apologise for saying that word live on air. I hope we don't get any complaints. Oh dear. I think I've started a thing. But you know,
no,
the clouds. The clouds, I can forgive the clouds a little bit. My concern is the haze, because we do have some people asking whether we'll be able to see the booster splashdown from Starbase. And if it splashes down in the same place as Booster 13 did on Starship Flight 6, then, because we are, even if everything goes really well with the booster, we're still expecting a little bit of a fireball, because they are hovering above the Gulf and then dropping to try and intentionally destroy the booster so it doesn't, you know, float off into Mexican waters like it did with Booster 13. So I'm personally more gunning for no haze than no cloud, but we're just going to have to wait and see. Right now, I believe this is from the Margaritaville Hotel, who are, as always, so graciously hosting us, Jack and Das, for this launch. But yeah, even looking up at the launch site, there's a low level of cloud. It's not looking good. Hopefully we get an official update shortly.
Yeah, we'll get to it. I feel, I mean, I know I'm starting to communicate this early, and the producers will hate me for it, but it's very much aligning with a point I'm trying to make right now. At this point, this feels like everything is a bit late. That what I was about to say, and just as I say that, I can confirm that there has been a 14-minute delay into the launch window. So that lines up with what we are seeing. It felt a bit late. Everything felt a bit like they might be waiting, and now we can confirm they are waiting indeed a bit. 14 minutes into the window. Again, they have a window. They can do that. We might see that more. And that very much, Ryan, that feels a bit... Do you remember that New Glenn stream where they always pushed like a bit? This
Oh, the trauma is coming back to me. New Glenn 1, it's like, we're getting to a point in the count where things are going to happen. Oh, they just delayed another 30 minutes. Oh, they just delayed another 30 minutes. Oh, they just delayed another 30 minutes. I don't want that to happen again. SpaceX, please don't do that. That was slightly kind of annoying. But New Glenn 1, if I'm not mistaken, that went on the second attempt. So, you know, I mean, big brain time, put 2 and 2 together, maybe that means good things.
I want to point out, by the way, I said yesterday a worse word than the S word. Yesterday on the stream, and I will say it again, I said NROL 44. The worst word you can say on a rocket launch, because I said the evil Delta launch that took forever, and now that I said NROL 44, I think this launch will just be here for like 2 months. I'm joking. Just joking.
Well, we've seen SpaceX have to delay launches before by a few months, Flight 5. But yeah, I mean, that was more of an environmental licensing issue than a weather issue. So fingers crossed something like that doesn't happen this time around. I'll throw it over to you.
I want to bring up one point, because I know a lot of you are very impatient, and whenever there's even a minimal delay, I know some folks will be like, oh, it's an S word again, right? I'm not going to say the word, otherwise we jinx it, right? But look, they have a 1 hour window. They just moved it 14 minutes. They have 46 more minutes in the window if they want to use those. We've had in the past even shorter windows, in fact, and they've used the majority of it, and then they launched. So I'm not too worried. It's 14 minutes. If they need a few more minutes, let's just launch it a little bit later, but let's launch it still today, right? Like, that's the whole point of this, of why they have these windows. So
And I believe we actually have a SpaceX, Jessie Anderson herself, releasing some information that they are keeping their eyes on the weather. Eye emoji, double eye emoji. So that could be an indication that the opening of the window was forecast as no-go for the launch of the 10th flight of Starship. Therefore, SpaceX has pushed into the window so far by 14 minutes. Maybe that will open things up a little bit. But Adrian, we're still seeing that OLM vent going. We're still seeing that tower vent going. The tank farm is still getting ready. At this point, is it correct in saying SpaceX can really kind of fly a holding pattern until they're ready to go with that propellant load?
Yeah, this configuration of like pre-propellant load, they can hold until the end of the window. Like this is absolutely no problem. And again, I feel very confident to say what the weather issue for sure I think is clouds. Like there are definitely some very, very annoying clouds right now around the launch pad. There we see it. Like, I mean, if you ever watched a rocket launch and you see this, you're like, and I think that's what they're watching. And there looks to be some less dense spots that they might be able to launch through. But this feels like a nail biter.
Indeed, we are going to we're going to be patient, boys and girls. We're going to be calm, and we're just going to wait to see if things happen. Yeah.
As long as they're good in an hour and 9 minutes. Doesn't matter how bad they look now. They need to clear out in an hour and 9 minutes. That's plenty of time for some of these clouds to either disperse or sort of, fly away. Whatever they want to do.
Evaporate.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and I mean, that is the key point, right? We are seeing clouds which are providing less than desirable views right now, I think it's fair to say. But that's right now. Starship is currently scheduled to launch in over an hour's time. The weather can change quickly in an hour, right? We've seen that on many launches before, particularly from the Space Coast, when things change at T-1 hour and 1 minute and 6 seconds. Fingers crossed it's more of the opposite direction than it was with the first attempt for Crew 11. But yeah, here we go. Maybe some lighter spots starting to appear in the sky. Fingers crossed those continue to grow as well. And of course, the support is continuing to flow into the panel here. Noel J has done 100 more Red Team members. That's 200 Red Team memberships this stream. And this is the second stream for this launch. This is the second attempt for this launch. We, of course, do our stakeout stream earlier in the day as well. Noel J, you are going absolutely berserk. Thank you so much for that support. 200, just imagine a room of 200 people right now. They have access to the NSF member area completely free of charge. Completely free of charge. They now have access to the behind the scenes multi-view, the behind the scenes multi-view, where you can see all of the things going crazy and hopefully not going badly in the background. Hopefully everything's going well. I mean, seriously, Noel J, that is some incredible support. Thank you so much. It's just incredible. Jason as well in chat. Thank you so much. I think that was in response to the playback we had there. Jesse's becoming a Capcom member, different Jesse to Jesse Anderson. Him become with the T-minus 60 minutes, $30 super chat. Thank you so much for the support. And we also have F6B with the support as well. Thank you so much. We couldn't do this stuff without you. We showed you earlier all of the different sites we've got running. Cameras across South Texas. We couldn't do it without the support. And we are still for a go for propellant load from SpaceX, which has not come yet. We have been delayed by 14 minutes, but fingers crossed we don't get any more delays. But as Alex, you were just saying, 14 minutes into an hour-long window. There's still 46 minutes of play.
Yeah, and if there's anything to be learned from how they operate Falcon 9s is that they give it a try. As long as they have any chance, they give it a try, right? I mentioned earlier how, they had a recent launch, I think it was the Crew 11 launch, where it was 90% favorable weather. Like, can you imagine being so close to just perfect weather? And the 10% non-favorable one on those chances. They had a cloud coming in right at the end where it as they said, it sort of skimmed the pad area, and they had to S-word the launch, right? And so yeah, it can be just like that. They're gonna try. They have, again, 46 more minutes on that window. They still have not even loaded propellant, right? Once they go into propellant load, they have another hold point at the T-minus 40-second mark, where they can hold for another 15-20 minutes. So they even have that, of course. And so they're just gonna give it a chance. They have the rocket ready. The tank farm is ready.
There's also another consideration they for sure here have at this point. So yesterday we had a few hours of chill down. Like, they used some nitrogen yesterday for sure, and probably quite a bit. Once they start through loading, like actual full-on loading, and they load a lot, they will run through way more nitrogen, way more oxygen, and way more methane. I feel, I know the tank farm has quite a capability, but especially with the nitrogen, they might run, if they go through a full flow today, into a situation where they have to, for example, consider, can they do another attempt tomorrow if weather doesn't permit. There will be considerations, all of that go through their mind right now. They won't just blindly load and with that ruin their chance to go tomorrow. They want to have a good chance. And I would be feeling very confident that if they don't go today, we would see at least an army of tankers tonight that goes to this tank farm to replenish the nitrogen, because this chill down, like hours and hours of chill down and cycling for all the system, you're running through quite some nitrogen there.
One of the advantages
Alex, barely 3 hours ago, we were still seeing tankers coming in and out of the launch site, right? Like, they had closed the road off at LBJ, and there were tankers still going down the road. I mean, SpaceX has been fueling up that tank farm like crazy over the last 24 hours whilst they recycle from yesterday's unsuccessful.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, right, that, one of the advantages of yesterday's launch attempt is that they only had loaded a little bit of propellant, and they can drain it back. It's not that they boil it off entirely, like, they don't let it vent and just escape the tanks or anything like that through the vents. They reclaim as much as they can, just running the same process of loading, but in reverse, essentially. And the whole thing with that is, it's true that some of it gets lost to boil off, the oxygen mainly, but it's just a little bit. And the less of that oxygen that they load into the vehicle, even less that gets lost to that boil off. And so that's one of those things that they also had an advantage with yesterday's attempt. Usually, now that they have upgraded the launch tank farm and things like that, they have new systems since a few flights ago. They already have the capability to be able to do a 24-hour turnaround, even if they go to the end of the window. Not the end of the window, the end of the countdown, excuse me. So if they go through the entirety of the countdown sequence, they fully load the rocket, and they consume all of these different consumables and everything, since they can replenish, they can reclaim some of it and then replenish during those 24 hours, they can do an attempt 24 hours after. So yesterday, that was probably not a big of a deal in terms of the tank farm systems.
Indeed. I'm just looking at those clouds behind Starship there. I can't tell if it's just like a gap in the clouds, or if it's actually kind of looking pinky and sunsetty. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
There it is. The problem we are really right now having is, if I see this correctly, and then Adam in the back channel can correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the clouds are a bit stable. Like, it's not really completely being blown away. Which of course is not great if you're in a situation when you're waiting for the weather. We are at the point where the last time we were, there came the delay, like right about now, and
that's some brilliant timing from you there, Adrian.
Yeah. Sorry. So we have another delay. SpaceX has just adjusted the T-minus clock to now 59 of the hour. So that is, oh god, local time. Is it 6:59? I'm sorry.
Yeah, 6:59.
Yeah, 6:59. 6:59. New T0. They are in the weather holding pattern. This is the new Glenn launch all over again. They will do this as long as they can. But I feel very confident to say weather right now is not go, and they are hoping for go.
Yeah, and that's one of the
Alex.
that's one of the things that we're seeing right now, right? We're seeing those, as I said before, they can keep being on this point of the countdown, on this chill down for as long as they want. Of course, as long as they have also consumables to run through the lines and everything. But they can keep being at this point in the countdown. This is essentially, as I said before, it is also the point where they do their polls to go for propellant load and things like that. So you can see there that oil and vent, both the live version and the clip from previous test flights or previous tests at the launch mount there. So the oil and vent can keep going. The tower vent will also keep going. It's currently silent. It's sort of stopped there, but it is part of the whole tower vent behavior. It comes up, then it sort of goes silent for a bit. It's sort of like, it's there. It's just, it's sort of dormant, if you will. Once it comes back, that's gonna be the second part of that tower vent. It'll come back stronger, and it'll be sort of like this large plume, that large cape coming from the back of the tower, and that'll be the last portion of that. And once that disappears, that'll be our clue that they are beginning liquid oxygen load on the ship. But this is where we are right now, right? We want them to be sure that they are not going for propellant load until they are ready to go. They are probably in weather watch, as Adrian was saying before, where they're trying to not rush to get into the propellant load. They're trying to make sure that they are in the clear. We may see also, as we can see here, some of those chines venting, especially the two that are facing the tower, because they hold the carbon dioxide that is used for the fire suppression system on the engine section of the booster, and those get loaded with we think it's liquid CO2, liquid carbon dioxide, because they are very long cylinders, and they look to be high pressure cylinders and everything, and they get very venty when that happens. Of course, once propellant starts going, we'll see that frost rising on all 4 tanks of Starship. Then we can see a little bit of what that will look like once it happens. Of course, we want that to happen, right? So everybody think good thoughts, good weather thoughts for that to happen. I don't know if we're gonna be going through any more clips. Oh, engine chill on booster. Sure. So you can see there, we're gonna have the engine chill on booster, roughly T minus 20 minutes in the count, 20 minutes to go. We'll see that vent from one of the pits. You can see in that view from the clip, it's sort of on the left-hand side of that view. We have a very similar view for today's launch out there in the dunes as well. So we'll have also a view of that, as long as the ground systems on the tank farm allow us to see those, because it's gonna get very venty as well from the ground tanks. And yeah, that's also part of the process, and we'll see what will happen. Ship engine chill, yeah, that's also part of the process as well. We're gonna get vent from underneath the flaps. You can see, oh, the same view. Look at that. It's the same view in the future. Hopefully about 50 minutes from now, we should see that engine chill on the ship as well. There are one vent on underneath of each of the aft flaps on the ship. DSX, yeah, let's just go through until the end of the countdown, I guess.
We can just make up our launch at this point, like just
yeah. We're just going through all of the B-roll here. This is Kevin just flexing that we have all of this prepared, I guess. But yeah, we have little explainers there so you guys can see what it should look like. That's the DSS, detonation suppression system. It's a mix of nitrogen and oxygen. We'll fire up 20 to 30 seconds before liftoff. And then, of course, we get the deluge and engine ignition. I'm not sure if we're also going to run those. We're going to run those, of course. Like, that's the DSS. Yeah, that's the water deluge. Activating. Should be activating at T minus 10 seconds. And then, of course, the Raptor ignition sequence. All 33 engines all 33 engines will not ignite at the same time. You can see the engine diagram. First, they ignite the 13 inner engines, then 15 of the 20 outer engines, and then the remaining 5 at the end. And then hopefully you lift off. But then you can see a little bit of the things that we should expect here in the countdown as we progress down the clock. Or the count, I guess.
SpaceX might be in a holding pattern. The support we have been getting is nowhere near a holding pattern. It keeps going. We have Go Flyers gifting 5 Red Team memberships. We have Daniel with an question asking if the flights at the Brownsville airport are ever halted for launches. I don't believe so. The airport is far enough away from the launch site. It shouldn't be impacted by any of the kind of launch TFRs or NOTAMs. However, let's just say when a VIP turns up, sometimes there could be some disruption, and I'll leave it at that. Faria, thank you so much for the support as well. We also have Iran becoming a Red Team membership. FONS, thank you very much for gifting 10 Red Team memberships. I've completely lost count how many Red Team memberships have been gifted in today's stream. It's well over 300 at this point. The support is bonkers. Xander has become a Padrap member. We also have Todd, thank you very much. Hopefully we can help to educate people on the things going down with Starship, because that's the whole reason why we do this, right? We want to be able to share this stuff with the entire world, because it's awesome. If they launch, if the weather holds, it's going to be awesome. I'll put it that way. Anthony, no message, but the sort of £5 anyways. Thank you so much for the support. Of course, Turtle in chat again. Thank you so much. Thank you for the support, and we'll leave it at that. The clouds are still clouding. SpaceX still holding. For those of you just joining us, the window opens in a few minutes' time. However, they have delayed Adrian at this point by 29 minutes total, I think. They're now 29 minutes into their 1 hour window. So there's still more window left than they've taken by 60 seconds.
Absolutely. They still have some wiggle room here. Of course, that's the positives here. We'll know more. They will watch this very closely. But of course, you also don't want to violate weather rules. Like, I see some people are like, oh, whatever, just try it. Nah, that's usually not idea. Weather rules are there for a reason. And you only want to launch if these weather rules are permitting such launch. Because imagine you're preparing all of this expensive vehicle, you're putting all of the time in there, and then you lose it because you have a bit of go fever and want to go a day early. So we'll see them being careful. I also saw a question by Scott about is it better resetting at T-minus 75 minutes than T-minus 40 seconds? And I think my personal opinion is better here because they don't waste that much propellant. But back to you, Ryan.
Yeah, T-minus 1 hour, 8 minutes. Maybe in 8 minutes' time we'll either get a SpaceX tweet saying, go load, and we'll all be hyped, we'll all be happy, we get to play that awesome video, or the website will update again and it will be another 15 minutes into the window. There's only one way to find out. Stay tuned. We could be an hour and 7 minutes away, or we could be a little bit further than that. But as things stand, the clouds are still clouding. English verbs. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see if the storms do any more storming. Hopefully they don't, but you never know. I do have to say though, Alex, the weather yesterday suddenly seems like it was much nicer because SpaceX went straight into propellant load pretty much this time around.
Yeah.
They seem to be, kind of scared to go into propellant load.
They did delay though. It didn't, or at least they were not targeting the opening of the window, but it is true that they did not delay into the window as much as they are doing today. Still, they have 31 minutes left, right? So no panic. But also, to the question of whether it's better to hold now than rather doing it at T-minus 40 seconds, I will also add the fact that once they load the propellant, it is true they can hold, but they cannot hold forever, right? They can only hold for a few minutes. And so it's better to do it now because whatever hold they have, it's sort of more indefinite, if you will.
Yeah, perfect way to say
it. I think I know why Adrian just chuckled. But yeah.
I don't even want to comment on it. It's just yeah. Thanks, SpaceX. That's all.
So the OLM vent is still going. Let's get this show back on the rails. The OLM vent is still going on the orbital launch mount. That's what it stands for, OLM. yeah, it is. It's still going. It's still waiting. Beautiful views here from the dunes. One of the cameras that we set up specifically for the launch this morning. I believe this is one of Dee's remote cameras. Yeah, this is going to be a spectacular view if they actually get to the point of igniting the engines. And we have the tower vent still going as well, looking up from the trailer. Yeah, not as strong as we've seen it in the past. It's kind of trickling out there, Adrian.
I see some other people mentioning that on social media, on on other content, other people that are not related to SpaceX are telling them it's at this point like basically treating it this launch is called off. That's not the case. Like, the only source you should listen to regarding if this launch is still on or not is SpaceX. Everything else that everybody else speculating over what SpaceX is saying is only speculating and is very much not saying what is factual. Just saying.
Yeah, indeed, indeed. So we're still waiting 5 minutes until that T-1 hour point, 5 minutes until we may get another decision from SpaceX. It'll be good news, or it'll be kind of mild news, hopefully, is the worst we'll be getting. And I believe we have just gotten word, Alex, we have go for propellant load of Starship.
We do. Yeah, SpaceX just confirmed they are go for propellant load. So they are gonna try it. They're gonna give it a chance at 6:59 p.m. Central Time for that T0. So let's go.
Yeah, chat, I think it's time to start getting hyped because SpaceX has confirmed they are go to load propellant on the Starship. That should begin in about 11 minutes time, according to the countdown. The launch director is happy with the weather conditions. They might still be watching them, but they're happy to go for prop load with the current weather conditions. Come on, chat. I need to see chat going crazy right now. We need to get hyped. Adrian, are you hyped for Starship Flight 10?
Yeah, I actually, this caught me off guard because I totally 100% expected that this would push again, and now they're going for it. So yes, totally caught off guard. I'm hyped, Kevin, in my ear that you cannot hear. That is now telling me I need to get hyped.
I'm hyped. Yes! I'm just putting the voices and everything. Yeah, I'm hyped, of course. I have my heart racing for like the last hour. I don't know if it's the excitement or the 2 coffees that I took today, because it was like, let's go!
I think we've teased it long enough. I'm getting hyped. I am doing my usual calm, collected, getting hyped. Starship Flight 10 is an hour away. I think we've teased it enough. Let's play the video.
Whoa! Ship 36 just blew up.
Oh my god.
We have liftoff.
We have 33 healthy Raptor engines.
Restriction cut off.
And hot staging, look at that. Wow.
Fly, baby, fly.
Let's go! The booster is no go for a catch.
Four, 3, 2. Well, there's an awful lot of clouds up here on the roof of the Margaritaville Hotel. Jack and I are all set up. We've got, what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, Y'all are five different cameras. You got another camera up there, 6, probably 7 cameras. We've got a few cameras that you don't have to stand at attention or anything, dude.
I don't know. It's kind of like this is like my
He's
resting.
like in parade rest.
Because when I do this, I like kind of slouch.
slouch?
Like, yeah, this is my anti-slouch technique. I don't know. Sawyer taught it to
Sort
me.
of like pulls it back together. Anyways, we're up here. We are all set, ready for launch. I wonder how much we're going to see if it launches today, though. We've got some pretty dark clouds over this way. We actually had to clear off the roof earlier due to a lightning warning. We've got lightning detectors around, and we were getting lightning a little bit too close for comfort. So we cleared off and stopped setting up and waited for all that weather system to clear out. We don't have that now, but it's pretty dark in the east direction here.
Yeah,
So
like if I look over here, sure. If I look over there, yeah.
It's
If I look over here, not great. If I look over there, oh, that's your on-site weather. I'm not as good as Ryan.
It's like that way, not looking too,
Yeah.
but that weather has been missing us to the north here. We sort of watched this, and it's been skirting up the northern part of the island, so we haven't actually gotten wet here yet, knock on wood. But we are all ready to go. The clock continues to count down at the Margaritaville Hotel.
Absolutely. Are they going to take it away from us, or do we get to keep talking?
I don't know.
All right. Well, I'm just going to take the moment to say, holy cow, that report from Sam. I mean, this field report.
Oh,
who
yeah,
cares?
yeah. I saw that.
That field report from Sam was awesome.
cool.
I'm so glad that came together. But everybody's just pulling, 110% trying to get this thing done. I'm sure SpaceX and everybody over there is doing the same thing, trying to get this rocket off the ground. So
Yep.
at this point, it's up to the weather gods. Hopefully they cooperate. Otherwise, I'm going to be yelling at some clouds.
I feel like I'm looking at 39A.
Yeah, in a suit, in a dragon suit. Yeah, but it's been a fun one. Like normally, launches are very rushed to get everything done. Today, a lot of the things were already done.
Yeah.
So I actually got to hang out at the ranch a little bit.
Nice.
Anthony made me coffee. Thank you, Anthony, if you're listening. It was
Nice.
delicious, and that's why I'm so hyper. But for real, we actually got to spend a little bit extra time.
Chill out a little bit.
Yeah, I got some extra cameras set up, so I feel very bad for everybody that only got the one chance at the attempt yesterday and had to leave. But from my perspective, selfishly, I'm feeling good about today. I really hope the weather cooperates and
Yep.
they can get this thing off the ground, get some data, and move this program on to the next step.
Push it on to the next Block 2 Starship to get out of the way so we can get into the Block 3s. You're right, Jack. Today, we left a lot of the gear up here. A bunch of the cases are weatherproof. We bagged some other stuff, but we put it up here and we didn't have to carry it all up. It's so tough when you have to lug all the gear up here and it's hot and you're sweating and you get exhausted and then it's time for lunch.
And I don't even mind lugging gear or getting hot, sweaty, and exhausted. It's doing that after being awake for 16 hours, after 2 hours of sleep, after being awake for it all adds up, right? A little bit of challenge, no problem. But when you have a challenging week and you get to the end of the week and this is the catharsis, we all want to see it go.
Yep.
Suffice to say.
So that's our report from up here on the roof right now. I think in just a second we'll toss it back here. We're not set up to answer questions or anything. I don't even know where my phone is right now.
What's a phone?
What's a phone? But,
I have a computer I keep in my pocket.
Nice. But we'll go ahead and send it back to some of the views from that end. We'll make sure that all our gear is ready to go. If we get a launch, we'll be tracking it up here from the roof of the Margaritaville Beach Resort, South Padre Island.
If the Bayer family's watching, I love you. Bye.
Nice. Just gonna turn around and go back to our work now.
Jack said he was going to leave for half an hour to go get his camera set up, and an hour later, now I find out he's playing with Das on the roof of the Margaritaville Hotel. Anyways, I'll forgive him because we've been getting so much support. Crafty Geek with the $5 super chat, thank you so much. Interesting question about the sunset, Alex. Are we jellyfish territory, or are we too early?
We're very, very early. It's not going to be for another hour or so after the launch, so it's not really within the window. Now, downrange though, close to Florida and around the Cuban islands and things like that, once you get to that point, that is probably going to be dark enough perhaps that you might see the final portion of the ship engine burn. Right, so you might be able to have some kind of jellyfish effect downrange, sort of the way that we see, for example, in Florida when it's still daylight, but they are launching into the night, for example, and up the coast, it's already well dark enough that they can see that effect. So very similarly, that could happen here as well, where, you know, at the launch site, there's probably not going to be any jellyfish effect. There's also the fact that there are lots of clouds in the way, so maybe that will not allow us to see any jellyfish or anything. Let's hope we do, because we have our tracking assets and everything. We want to see the rocket for as long as we can, but we're definitely not going to see a jellyfish. People downrange, they may have a chance of seeing that.
And we also had Elizabeth Hopener, one of those names we always see in chat, with a $100 super chat. No message. No message. A $100 super chat. I mean, that's just bonkers support as usual. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. It's so greatly appreciated, that support in there. And then we had a $50 super chat from Bideford, another regular in chat. Bideford is always in chat, always providing the... And yeah, Bideford, I just want to say that we are all sending our thoughts in your direction today. So fingers crossed we do get a pretty launch indeed for your son's launch. So yeah, fingers crossed. But again, Bideford, thank you so much for the support. You're always in chat. It's just incredible to see. T-minus 55 minutes to go. Adrian, we've had a go for propellant load. We're getting hyped up. We've finally played the video again. I'm going to ask the thing. I want a vibe check. How are you vibing? Do you think it's going to go?
That's a good question. I didn't think about that so far. Yes. I don't know why, but yes. I always feel like these days, when weather is an issue, I get too pessimistic, and then I'm getting surprised. And yeah, I feel confident they have a very good chance to go today, and I will fully say, if they launch today, I think we will see a fully stable re-entry. There, I'm. That's the one thing I'm very optimistic about. I think they figured it out. I think it's finally time to see some good old plasma again.
Someone clip that. Alex, what's your vibe? How your vibes do? No, let's talk about the ship. We should be seeing some tank activity shortly. Some subcoolers should be kicking in shortly as well. How's that whole deal going at T-minus 53 minutes?
Yeah, so we had the go for propellant load, but propellant load has not started yet. That should be happening hopefully in 38 seconds from now, at least according to the SpaceX website. They have the start of fuel load on the ship at the T-minus 53 minute mark. So in roughly 27 seconds from now, that'll be the start of liquid methane load on the ship. And we see now the comeback of the tower vent. That is more related to the liquid oxygen side of the ship loading, which, by the way, should be happening around 8 minutes after that at T-minus 4.
Так, и все, я вернулся. Итак, сейчас на отметке 53 минуты у нас уже должна начаться заправка, а именно заправка метана в корабль. А я напоминаю то, что мы смотрим прямую трансляцию 10-го испытательного орбитального полета Starship, который произойдет, мы надеемся, этот запуск уже через 52 минуты 47 секунд. SpaceX нацелена на 20... Нет, давайте сначала. Starship. Сколько всего в этом слове? Это явно самая легендарная ракета в истории. На данный момент единственная реальная надежда человечества на межпланетное будущее и на то, что космические полеты станут доступными для всех. Ведь Starship — это первый в истории полностью одноразовая ракета. Так еще и с огромной грузоподъемностью в 150 тонн, который будет только расти. И он станет самой дешевой ракетой в истории. Starship начал свой путь еще в 2016 году. Точнее, еще в начале 2000-х годов с проекта сначала Falcon XX, затем проект морского транспортера, а вот в 2016 году с проекта Interplanetary Transport System, затем в 2017 году и 2018 годах две версии BFR, и в 2019 году была объявлена программа Starship. С 2019 года сеть Starbase строились различные прототипы, доставили стенды ночью в другом. Иногда даже происходили полеты, некоторые из которых даже были успешными. И теперь SpaceX нацелены на сегодня, на 25 августа, на стартовый с 23:30 по EDC, по 26 августа, 00:30 по EDC, на запуск 10-го полета Starship Booster 16 Ship 37 из На данный момент уже было 2 переноса на 14 и на 15 минут, и на данный момент запуск запланирован на 23:59 по EDC, хотя изначально был запланирован еще на вчера, 24 августа, но был перенесен из-за проблем с заправкой корабля. Изначально также в полет должен был отправиться корабль Ship-36, он успешно взорвался при подготовке к прожигу 18 июня, тем самым уничтожив стенд огневых испытаний на Месси. Этот корабль Ship-37 прожигали прямо на модифицированном орбитальном стартовом столе. После завершения расследования потери Starship во время 9-го летного испытания и аномалий, связанные со статическим пожаром на Ship-36, были внесены изменения в аппаратное обеспечение и эксплуатации для повышения надежности. Предстоящий полет продолжит расширять рабочий диапазон, ускорить запланированные многочисленные испытания на посадочный импульс. Он также будет решать те же задачи, что и предыдущие миссии, включая первое развертывание полетной нагрузки Starship и несколько экспериментов по возвращению верхней ступени на стартовую площадку для захвата. В рамках этого испытания ракета проведет ряд летных экспериментов, чтобы собрать данные о реальных характеристиках будущих профилей полета и нештатных ситуациях. Ускоритель проведет эти эксперименты на траектории полета точки посадки в заливе Америка и не будет возвращаться на стартовую площадку для посадки. После разделения ступени ускоритель развернется в контролируемом направлении, прежде чем включить двигатель. Этот маневр был впервые продемонстрирован в ходе полета 9 и требует меньшего количества топлива в резерве, что позволяет использовать больше топлива во время подъема для вывода на орбиту дополнительной полезной нагрузки. Основными целями испытаний ускорителя будут посадочный импульс с использованием уникальной конфигурации двигателей. Один из 3 центральных двигателей, используемых на заключительном этапе посадки, будет намеренно отключен для сбора данных о способности резервного двигателя среднего кольца завершить посадочный импульс. Затем ускоритель перейдет на работу только 2 центральных двигателей в конце посадочного импульса, перейдя в режим полного зависания над поверхностью океана, после чего они выключатся, и он упадет в залив Америка. Корабль снова будет нацелен на выполнение нескольких задач, включая запуск 8 имитаторов Starlink, сопоставимых по размеру со спутниками Starlink следующего поколения. Имитатор Starlink будет находиться на той же суборбитальной траектории, что и Starship искали при входе в атмосферу. Также планируется повторный запуск одного двигателя в космосе. Летные испытания включают в себя несколько экспериментов, направленных на обеспечение возможности возвращения корабля на стартовую площадку. Значительное количество плиток было снято со Starship для тестов уязвимых зон по всему аппарату во время входа в атмосферу. Несколько вариантов металлических плиток, в том числе одна с активным охлаждением, будут испытывать альтернативные материалы для защиты Starship во время входа в атмосферу. По бокам аппарата установлены функциональные фиксаторы, которые будут проверять тепловые структурные характеристики фитингов, а также участок линии плитки, получивший сглаженный конический край для устранения горячих точек, наблюдавшихся во время входа в атмосферу во время 6-го летного испытания Starship. Летное испытание продолжает предоставлять ценные знания для разработки следующего поколения Starship без тяжелых ракет, благодаря наращиванию производства на заводе Star Factory, на базе Starbase и активному созданию новой пусковой и испытательной инфраструктуры для Хасси и Фрейди. Starship готов продолжать работу над созданием быстрой и полностью многоразовой системы запуска. Статус подготовки к полету. Уже за 7,5 часов до запуска в 16:00 по EDC было перекрытие дороги. Далее, за 3 часа и 15 минут до запуска в 20:15 по EDC была начата активность заправочной инфраструктуры. За 53 минуты до запуска в 21:06 по EDC у нас была начата заправка. И далее на отметке 46 минут в 23:13 по EDC уже через 2 минуты у нас должна начаться наконец-то официальная прямая трансляция от SpaceX. Ожидаем.
On the ship's upper tank. And there you can also see that some of the lines are very frosty. Yeah, there's definitely methane load going on.
Yeah, the methane line, which is the one sort of on the right-hand side, that's the one that is currently frosty. The liquid oxygen line, the one that they repaired, the one on the left, there's like 2 big pipes. That's what I'm referring by left and right. So if you looked at that view of the quick disconnect arm, the big one on the right is the one with the liquid methane, and the one on the left is the one with the liquid oxygen. Liquid oxygen load should begin in about 2 minutes from now, at least according to the timeline. And that tower vent that we're seeing right now, it's part of that procedure to prepare for that, because it's a very cold liquid, and they are getting ready to chill down those lines up to the tower with the liquid oxygen flowing through them, and that's what they're venting right now. They're venting that liquid oxygen. And so one of the things that we're going to see is before that liquid oxygen load starts, we're going to see that vent coming out, essentially the other way around, not coming out, but like going out, going away, and stopping. So we'll probably see that in a minute or so.
And we are still patiently waiting. But of course we have that methane load underway on the ship, and I'm not seeing any leaks from the ship quick disconnect umbilical there. Adrian,
However,
how are you feeling?
However, I will add to this. Yesterday, the logs line leaked. So on the right side, as Alex said, from our perspective, is the methane line. On the left side is the logs line. And yesterday, what we saw was a leak of the logs line.
У корабля 37 много работы впереди. Изменения в конструкции блока 2 еще предстоит подтвердить после предыдущих 3 полетов. После потери корабля 36 на Месси, 37-й был срочно поставлен на место в полете 10 с довольно уникальным маршрутом. Команды SpaceX применили радикально новые свежие подходы для подготовки к полету, самым важным из которых стало адаптирование оборудования для проведения статических огневых испытаний корабля на стартовой площадке 1. Оказавшись в космосе, 37-й корабль планирует развернуть 8 имитаторов Starlink, а также повторно запустить один Раптор. Экспериментальные альтернативные системы тепловой защиты будет испытан при входе в атмосферу. Долгосрочная цель Starship — доставить человечество на Марс, обеспечив мультипланетное присутствие и расширение человеческой расы во Вселенной с помощью быстрой многоразовой системы запуска. Этот полет является важной вехой для цели SpaceX в программе Starship и для всех, кто инвестирует в ее развитие.
Wondering where it is. If you see the middle of the ship, right in the middle of the ship, you see this reinforced line where basically the two tanks, the methane and the liquid oxygen tank, met. And right above that, you can now see discoloration, and that is because liquid methane is now flowing into this.
Alright, all operators on count on 1. Flight directors go for launch.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Starbase, Texas, or what we like to call here at SpaceX, the gateway to Mars. I'm Dan Hewitt with SpaceX Communications, coming to you once again from inside of Star Factory. This time pretty cool. Just off to my right, though, our new Mission Control Center. Engineers are on console, monitoring all the vehicle, the systems, as we are counting down right now to liftoff of the 10th Starship flight test. As you look at the rocket, you can tell prop load is underway. Our T0 right now is set for 6:59 p.m. Central Time. We've been dodging around some weather. That is currently the biggest threat to a launch today, as we're at about 70% probability of violation to liftoff. So we're looking at those clouds closely, but not tracking any technical issues on the vehicle. Today's objectives, particularly with the ship, going to look pretty similar to the last flights, the last several launches. We're planning to deploy Starlink simulator satellites and fly a whole range of experiments during Starship's re-entry, really trying to test the limits of its heat shield, the flaps, learn as much as possible as we build towards a fully reusable heat shield. We're looking to do a controlled descent, targeted soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean, so hopefully seeing Starship on the other side of the planet today. Regardless of the outcome, the goal is to collect as much data as humanly possible. That'll get us all the bit. We're just getting closer and closer to a fully operational Starship.
Bill and I are just going to enter this live cast.
All right, so
add a little flavor.
Yeah, right now we're counting down, but we're about to launch the largest flying object ever made. But this isn't on the radar for everybody, and we know that. So we want to kind of take a beat, pull back, do a little bit of Starship 101. To do that, I've got some special guests crashing the webcast today. Joining me now in Star Factory, Elon Musk, Chief Engineer at SpaceX. Bill Riley, our VP of Starship Engineering. Thanks for being here, guys. I know we got a rocket about to get off the pad, but, you know, let's start people off like high level. Like, why are we here? What the hell are we doing here?
Well, I don't know about everybody, but I'm here to try to build into the future that I imagined and dreamed of as a child, where starships with people are out among the stars exploring the universe.
Yeah, so the why, it's always important to explain the why of things. And the why of Starship is that we want to be a multi-planet species to extend consciousness beyond Earth, I think for two main reasons. One is to ensure the long-term survival and prosperity of life as we know it in consciousness, which if we are a multi-planet species and ultimately a multi-stellar species out there among the stars, the probability of survival is much, much longer. That's kind of the, defensive aspect or life insurance for life collectively. But then there also need to be things that are inspiring and exciting and that give you reason to live. Life cannot just be about solving one tragic problem after another. There must be also reasons to get up in the morning and be excited about the future. And a future where we are a space-faring civilization is infinitely more exciting than one where we are not.
And we're doing it all pretty unique location. I mean, the pad's behind us. We got rocket on the tower. We got another tower with it. We're sitting inside Star Factory. And I mean, it wasn't like this for very long. This is all pretty brand new.
Yeah, I think we moved Starship here in about the early part of 2019. So we've been coming that entire time and seeing the site evolve from a double-wide trailer and a tent where we built Starhopper to the first suborbital test flights. And now we have behind us 2 towers for the first time as we build towards the first operational flight from the second tower at the end of this year. And this beautiful building, 1 million square feet, where we're able to work towards a production line of Starships.
Yeah, the SpaceX team has done an incredible job of building out really the most advanced rocket manufacturing facility that has ever existed. This is far beyond any rocket fabrication facility that has ever been built. This is...
Боже, я в ахере. Началась официальная трансляция от SpaceX, и вот, походу, наша презентация прям тут на стриме, потому что у нас на трансляции официальный Илон Маск, боже. Илон Маск, походу, решил сам ведущим трансляции побыть своих же запусков, наконец-то. Ну что ж, смотрим. Вот нам показывали опять-таки Star Factory.
And a gigantic rocket factory with high bays, and we're going to be building something called the Gigabay, which is like one of the largest enclosed volumes on Earth. So it's sort of like a gigantic Borg cube that we're going to be building here for building and storing these gigantic rockets. It's really spectacular, and anyone can come and visit. So because we're on a public highway, and we're literally by a public beach, you can actually come and see the rocket. You quite close up. I mean, you can drive past it,
and you can also look at the factory.
Тем временем началась заправка ускорителя.
You can come and visit and check it out. So I think it's pretty cool that it's
just not right now.
Just not right now.
Just not right
Obviously
now.
not when we're launching because there's some safety issues, but the rocket's often just sitting on the pad without any propellant in it, and then you can just come here and visit. It's very easy.
Yeah, I think it's a really special place. Yesterday, the ship went down the road behind us, and I saw families outside going for their, on Sunday, going for their Sunday stroll, and they were greeted by Starship going down. And I think that from the very beginning, the thing about Starship, different than Falcon and other rockets that I'm aware of, is we designed it to be mass-produced and mass-produced at scale. And it's not about building one Starship and getting to orbit once. It's about doing it in a sustained and rapid way.
Yeah, we're aiming for ultimately thousands of ships to be built per year, which is what's needed in order to construct a city on Mars that is self-sustaining. And the major fork in the road of destiny will be when the Mars city is capable of surviving, even if the resupply ships from Earth stop coming for any reason. And that reason could be something cataclysmic, or it could be that that civilization simply subsided. There's always this debate throughout history of will civilization end with a bang or a whimper. But either way, if the critical thing is to get to the point where Mars is self-sustaining and can survive even if the resupply ships stop coming for any reason, which means that you need to build an entire base of industry on Mars in order for Mars to survive. For example, it's not simply enough to build a chip, like a computer chip factory, but you need the ability to build computer chip factories. So this is going to really take a lot of tonnage. I mean, my guess is at least 1 million tons to the surface of Mars, and maybe it takes less than that, but it's going to be a lot. But this is a very exciting future. It's one which will ensure the long-term survival and prosperity of life and consciousness, and it's the critical stepping stone to get from this solar system to other star systems, and perhaps go out there and explore, and perhaps we'll encounter alien civilizations that maybe they're alive now, or maybe they enjoyed a period of prosperity for millions of years, but also died out millions of years ago. So it's humbling to think of the age of the universe, according to the standard model of physics, being approximately 13.8 billion years old. So an incremental million years would be 3 digits past the decimal point. And if you look at, say, our civilization and measure our civilization by the first evidence of writing, which is about 5,500 years ago, civilization as measured from the first writing is only 1/millionth of Earth's existence.
Or blip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flash in the pan so far.
Yeah. Well, we're getting some cool shots. Rocket out on the pad right now. We tell people, like, come down, see it. It's hard to get, like, a sense of scale of just how massive this thing is. And we were able to catch somebody working on it a little while ago. And, like, part of the reason you said we're sending millions of tons, that's kind of why this thing is so massive. I think in this image, Dan,
you can actually see the person working at the bottom of the ship, and as we zoom out, you see the full ship, that sort of two-tone silver and black, and then the booster below it, right? And it really sets the scale, which doesn't come across, I think, other than in person. And when I do tours, I like to say Starship is real, Starship is big, and Starship is really big. And I think you can see there, and with the factory shots you saw earlier, again, we've got Flight 10 on the pad, but we got many more behind it.
Yeah, so I posted a video yesterday of just a brief scan of part of the Starship factory, and you can get a sense of the scale of the factory. Yeah, I guess we could talk a bit about why Starship is the way it is. Like, for example, why is half of the ship black and half of it is silver colored? And that's because the bottom half of the ship, the bottom as seen from orbital entry, has a heat shield on it. So the black there is the heat shield, and then the core structure of the rocket is a special alloy of stainless steel, and that's where you see the sort of shiny silver parts are stainless steel. The reason for steel over aluminum is that the heat of atmospheric entry and the heat of the rocket engines is enough to easily melt aluminum, but steel is much more resilient against both ascent heating, but especially the reentry heating. And you don't have to paint it, which is actually very difficult to paint a large object that is going through cryogenic cycles and have the paint stay on. It's quite challenging.
And so we've talked about it. It's massive. It obviously takes a whole lot of energy to make that thing move. And that's where Raptor really starts to come in. Most advanced engine on the planet. Giant
yes.
lightsaber.
No, that's a lightsaber and a half. You would get vaporized in an instant if you were standing in front of Raptor. So, yeah, burnt to a crisp less than a second. So in order to create a fully reusable orbital rocket, you have to advance the state of the art in every part of the rocket. That means the engines have to be better than any engine ever. The structure's got to be better than any structure ever. You've got to you've got to have a means of bringing the rocket back to the launch pad. You've got to have a fully reusable orbital heat shield, and that no one has ever made a fully reusable orbital heat shield. The space shuttle, for example, required 9 months of refurbishment between flights. So the space shuttle heat shield would come back essentially partially broken and would require many months of refurbishment in order to fly again. What we're trying to achieve here with Starship is to have a heat shield that can be flown immediately. So the ship, both the ship and the booster, would be caught by the tower arms, and the booster would be placed immediately back on the launch stand, and the ship's got to orbit Earth at least once, but then could be back potentially in one orbit, but in most cases several orbits. So the ship would come back several hours later, but then be caught by the arms and placed on top of the booster. You could also have multiple ships ready so that a single booster could service 5 or more ships, so that you could be flying the booster in theory, every hour. This is kind of a profoundly fast speed, obviously, for the largest flying object by far ever made. But it's the reason why we catch the booster with the tower arms, and the ship also will be caught with the tower arms, because that's the fastest way to get the booster and the ship back to flight. If we had instead put landing legs, which we have done before for the ship tests, we actually had landing legs that flipped down, and the ship we've successfully demonstrated landing with legs. But if you do that, if we were to do that with the booster and the ship, here we'd have to land somewhere else with the legs, then lift the rocket, stow the legs, transport the rocket back to the pad, which is very unwieldy when you've got a gigantic thing. Then it would be picked up by these tower arms and placed in the launch mount. That would delay the reusability dramatically and would add a lot of mass with the landing legs. So that's why we catch the rocket with the tower arms, because it's the same tower arms that put the rocket in the launch mount are used to catch the rocket. And that means that we can put the booster back in the launch mount in less than an hour after liftoff. In fact, the booster is going to come back very fast. 5 or 6 minutes later, this booster is coming back one way or another, or not coming back. So then you really have propellant fill time, which can be brought down to about 30, 40 minutes. And that means it is theoretically possible to fly the booster again in less than an hour.
I think when I think about it, it's the jet drives up to the jetway, the people get off, new people get on, and it leaves. You don't want to land the jet on a different airfield and then tow it over to the jetway. So it's just operationally simpler and faster.
Yeah, we've had a lot of success with the booster, 3 for 3 on the catch attempts. When we bring it back, we've reflown one, so awesome. And then again, Starship superpowers, the whole thing is reusable. So ship reusability is like what we're working on right now. We've been able to get some really spectacular reentries on a couple of flights, hoping to get this one for reentry on the V2 ship. But yeah, that fully reusable heat shield, that thing that has just never been done before. That's one of the things we're really looking for that data on.
Yeah, I mean, there are thousands of engineering challenges that remain for both the ship and the booster, but the single, maybe the single biggest one is the reusable orbital heat shield. We are confident in making a fully reusable orbital heat shield, but it will require many flights, many iterations to figure out where the weak points are in the heat shield, where we need to change the design, either strengthening the tile or changing how big the gap is between tiles, changing what's underneath the tile. There's a 100 different variables that we could tweak with the ship tiles, the heat shield tiles. But the only way to know exactly what we should be adjusting is to fly repeatedly and be able to examine the ship upon landing. And we have successfully brought the ship back through the atmosphere and achieved a soft landing multiple times. So we know that this is possible, but we have in the process shed many heat shield tiles. So we need to be able to do this without shedding heat shield tiles and do so repeatedly.
And I think what you're seeing now is the Starship. This is CG of it coming in and landing on the tower, much like the booster, but there's some additional challenges there where we need to make sure we don't scrape the tiles off as we slide along the chopstick
we can't
arms.
shuck the heat shield.
Don't crush the ship.
Rapid reusability.
If we shuck the tiles, then that's obviously going to fail the reusability test.
So ships can use the tower to land and catch, like the booster here on Earth where towers are available. And for our initial landings on Mars and other planets, we'll need landing legs that deploy much like what you're seeing here with Ship 15 when we did our suborbital test to prove out the precision descent landing, which was a successful test. We actually landed to, one was we were able to actually recover it, and you can see it here in the Rocket Garden if you visit Starbase.
Yeah, so the Rocket Garden that Bill mentioned, we have actually a whole bunch of boosters and ships, and we'll be adding to them over time. So you can see an evolution of Starship just by driving down the highway.
Yeah, so reusability is key. There's some other technologies we're still looking to prove out. Really big one is going to be the on-orbit refilling. Looking to do that next year, and that's really what's going to kind of unlock, Starship going everywhere else, going everywhere beyond Earth. And that's something that's, again, never been done before, kind of like that reusable orbital heat shield, but it's going to be something that's kind of some of the other secret sauce to Starship, where we're going to be able to send hundreds of tons per ship to Mars.
Yeah, I like to think of it as if we get to orbit with a full cargo bay, but we're empty on fuel and oxygen. So basically, we're running on fumes. Then we send other ships to dock, transfer propellant, and now we made our two-stage rocket look like a many multi-stage. And now we made our two-stage rocket look like a many multi-stage rocket, and we get all of that performance, and we can take that full cargo bay now wherever we want to go.
Yeah. So. A crucial technology that we hope to demonstrate for being able to send significant payload to Mars. So you essentially send a ship to orbit with a few hundred tons of payload, sort of a filled payload bay. But once it gets to orbit, the tanks will be mostly empty, and then you send up additional tanker ships to refill the Mars ship's tank so that it can thrust from Earth orbit to Mars and have enough propellant left for landing. So this is orbital refilling is also not something that's ever been demonstrated before. So that would be a brand new technology. We obviously have at SpaceX figured out how to dock repeatedly with the space station. So in a lot of ways, this is like docking, and in some ways it's easier in that SpaceX is docking with its own craft, but no one has ever demonstrated propellant transfer in orbit, to the best of our knowledge, and so this would be propellant transfer at a very large scale. And but with full reusability and propellant transfer, those are the key technologies needed for building a city on Mars, and I'm confident that the SpaceX team, which is incredibly talented, will achieve these goals, and we will be landing ships on Mars in the future and building life on Mars, building greenhouses and life on Mars, and ensuring the long-term survival of life as we know it. And it's important to note here that obviously, we are effectively stewards of life here on Earth. That the other creatures cannot build spacecraft and get to other planets. So if there were to be a cataclysmic event, like a giant meteor that destroyed the dinosaurs, or ultimately the sun will expand to envelop Earth and destroy all life, we know this is an undisputed fact. Then if we don't take life to another planet, all life will be destroyed. So it's incumbent upon us to ensure that we do bring life to other planets and ensure the long-term survival of life as we know it on planet Earth.
And I mean, aside from that, there's so much that Starship unlocks by being able to do these things. Like, we'll be able to go to Mars, but there are other just transformational things by being able to take that many people, that much stuff to space for that much less money.
Yeah, I mean, I think like understanding our planet better, being able to move people around the planet, make it feel smaller and more accessible. You could go anywhere on the Earth, in less than 40 minutes, basically, in terms of flight time. So I really do see Starship as being this thing that can connect us, just like Starlink connects our information. This can connect us more physically.
Yeah. So there's really nothing faster than a rocket. Really, an orbital rocket is the fastest thing that we know of of the fastest means of transport. So, like, you could go from LA to Sydney in less than half an hour. You could go LA to Tokyo in less than half an hour. You could go from New York to Singapore in half an hour. Everything's probably half an hour, basically. Some things might be 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, yeah, sign me up for that, please. All right, cool.
Cross the Atlantic in 10 minutes, no problem.
Please. Yes, sign me up.
You're going 25 times the speed of sound, so that's 30 times faster than a commercial aircraft.
And it's a whole hell of a lot better view.
Yeah, it's a hell of a view.
Yeah. All right, cool. Anything else, guys? Anything else?
Well,
you're really excited about
we could
coming
say a
out?
lot more.
Yeah.
Maybe we should go check in on the rocket and get on
All right,
console.
we're going to go back on console to hopefully the weather supports a launch tonight. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, and yeah, thanks for your support.
Thanks for crashing,
bye.
guys.
All right.
All right, that was sweet. Let's turn our attention back to the rocket. So just checking in, we are about 19 minutes and change away from liftoff.
Итак, у нас уже остается 19 минут до запуска. Тем временем началось охлаждение двигателей на первой ступени на ускорителе. Следующий этап — это уже на 2 минутах 50 секундах до запуска у нас будет полное завершение заправки. Я тоже думаю, что все рванет, а точнее надеюсь. Потому что Starship без взрыва, особенно второй версии, это уже не Starship. Так, все. Охлаждение двигателей начато. Нам рассказывают честно какую-то хрень, поэтому я ничего не говорю, потому что говорить нечего. Говорят все, что мы все слышали уже, блин, миллионы раз, блин. Реально. Вот, показывает дозаправку корабля, ее планируют осуществить в течение уже 2026 года. Не в начале 2026 года, а в течение. Да уж.
Of a super heavy booster, we saw a successful stage separation and the first ever deterministic flip, which gives us extra performance. The reused booster was flown at a much higher angle of attack to push the envelope on capabilities, which ended up causing some internal structural failure, eventually leading to a rapid unscheduled disassembly at landing burn.
Yeah, ship continued its ascent. We did see pressure drop in its main fuel tank and rise in the nose cone. We just had a camera view. We actually caught the failure on camera in the fuel pressurization system. Ship was able to complete its ascent, though, achieved its planned velocity and second stage engine cutoff.
After that, though, we did run into some issues with attitude control, which led us to skipping the payload deploy and Raptor relay demos. Starship eventually re-entered the atmosphere in an off-nominal attitude, and communication was lost approximately 46 minutes into the flight test during entry, but of course not before one heck of a light show.
Yeah. That booster rud was caused by higher than predicted forces on its structure, specifically that internal fuel transport tube, as we were doing a higher angle of attack experiment. To fix that for remaining flights with this version of the booster, including the one behind us, we're just going to lower that angle of attack. We're relaxing those forces, and that minimizes the likelihood of structural failure.
And over on the ship side, we redesigned the part of the fuel pressurization system that failed on Flight 9, put it through a more rigorous test campaign, and after subjecting it to flight-like stresses, it did successfully run for more than 10 times the expected service life with no damage, so great test results there. Our goal is always to make it through all of the objectives we set, but any result that teaches us more about Starship performing in the real-world environment helps us to make those targeted iterations and improve quickly.
Yeah, that's how SpaceX developed our first rocket, Falcon 1. That's the same philosophy we used to develop Falcon 9, which has passed 100 flights just this year and 500 flights overall.
Yeah, incredible milestone for Falcon, and again, the way they got there was to launch, learn, and repeat.
All right, so that wasn't the only thing that happened while getting ready for Flight 10. If you followed along, Ship 36, which was originally supposed to fly on Flight 10, experienced a major anomaly during a static fire test at our Massey's test site. It was in the process of loading all of its cryogenic propellant to do a 6-engine static fire when we had a sudden energetic event that resulted in the complete loss of the Starship, and we damaged the immediate area surrounding the stand out there at Massey's.
The most likely root cause was identified as undetectable or under-screen damage to a composite overwrapped pressure vessel, or COPV, in Starship's payload bay section. To address this probable cause, we're operating the COPVs on Starship at a lower pressure and also implemented additional proofs and inspection methods.
Meanwhile, though, keep our launch schedule up, got to keep testing. The team was able to pivot and use the launch pad, the one we're on today, to do ship static fire tests. It was the first time we've ever done that. Doing that retrofit was the fastest path to get back to launch. Team was able to engineer a solution where we used a transport ring to mount the ship, routed a whole bunch of extra hoses and everything to load propellants. They knocked that out in just a matter of weeks, where we had 2 static fires on the orbital mount.
Yeah, very impressive turnaround there, getting to these static fires. These static fires gave us the data we needed to progress to launch and are a prime example of our engineer and technician teams working to build creative solutions to keep us charging forward to eventually bring Starship online.
And even while doing all of this, we're in the process of rebuilding the test stand out at Massey's to get ready for the next generation of Starship, version 3. So right now, though, we are still on track. We're looking about 14 minutes away. Again, our T0 is at 6:59 p.m. Central. While we still have a couple of moments, though, let's toss it over to Chris, who's getting ready to watch the launch out in California. How's it going, Chris?
Hey, Dan and Amanda, it's going great, and welcome everyone to the Tesla Diner here in Hollywood, California. For the first ever public showing of a SpaceX webcast, it's been great to see the webcast up here on the big screens at the diner. You know, throughout the afternoon, we've had members of the public coming up, mixing and mingling, enjoying some of the food, getting to watch some old science fiction, but also getting to watch and keep up to date with what's happening here for Starship's 10th test flight. I think I can speak for everyone here when I say we're really looking forward to the epic views that we're going to get from in space and during atmospheric reentry, all thanks to Starlink. And speaking of Starlink, that's actually how we're coming to you live from the diner, relying on one of those many reliable connections that Starlink is able to put down across the Earth and in low Earth orbit. So for a little bit more information on the immediate future of the Starlink constellation, let's head on over to Hawthorne, where my colleague Tyler Lionquist is standing by. Tyler, how's it going there? And are you ready to see a rocket launch today?
We are definitely ready for a Starship launch here in Hawthorne. Hi everyone, my name is Tyler Lionquist and I'm a Starlink business analyst here at SpaceX. Starlink is SpaceX's low Earth orbit high-speed internet that's bringing connectivity to places where you least expect it, including in space. For today's mission, Starship is outfitted with 4 Starlink terminals, allowing us to get live views of ship while in orbit and all the way down to splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Starlink satellites are built in Redmond, Washington, and that's also where we monitor the health of our entire constellation. So let's take a quick look for more on Redmond.
What a lot of people might not realize when they think about the scale that we're operating is that actually 2/3 of the operational satellites in orbit are Starlink satellites. And then all of those Starlink satellites came from right here in Redmond. We've currently got a constellation of over 8,000 satellites that are flying around in orbit. So they're working together to fill out the whole surface of the Earth, make sure everywhere can have service. So we have these laser links that are connected between the satellites, so each satellite can pass data from one to the other. That is what allows us to have these hundreds of gigabit links between satellites, and that's what allows us to connect every corner of the Earth to high quality, high speed, low latency internet. When you think about that Starlink that you have at home, the technology that's in there and that's in your antenna is very similar to the antenna that's on the satellite. We use what are called phased array antennas, which is a fancy way of describing an antenna that's made up of many little antennas that work together in order to direct their energy to a specific spot on the ground without a motor.
Generally, satellite manufacturing is a very slow process. It takes people weeks or months to build a satellite. At SpaceX, we iterate very fast, and we have learned how to build satellites at the 70 sats a week rate. As we have focused a lot on production rate, we have not forgotten about our satellite reliability, which is critical to our mission.
If you look at the whole world and you ask, where is the satellite industry? It's right here in the USA, in Redmond, where the vast majority of satellites being built are being built right here. Starlink is a truly game-changing technology, and it's all supported by the global satellite constellation from this space here in Redmond. And we're really just getting started at the very beginning of what we want to do with Starlink.
Now, as we mentioned earlier in the show, one of today's objectives is for SHIP to deploy Starlink simulator satellites that represent the advanced V3 satellites Starship will be launching in the future. And as you can see here, once Starship reaches a nominal orbit, the payload door will slowly begin to open to prepare for deployment. The Starlink satellites will be dispatched relatively quickly, one at a time, very much like a Pez dispenser. They'll be situated in one long stack, taking up as little space as possible, allowing for an efficient deployment sequence. And once a set of Starlinks is deployed, the next set advances and deploys until they are all drifting away from Starship to prepare for their on-orbit life. Each Starlink V3 launch on Starship is planned to add 60 terabits per second of capacity to the Starlink network. That's more than 20 times the capacity added with every V2 mini launch on Falcon 9. So we're talking about a massive increase in performance all around, which will ultimately enable Starlink to serve as the communications backbone of the missions to the Moon and to Mars. But for now, we're going to turn it back over to the team at Starbase. Hey, Dan and Amanda.
Hey, thanks, Taylor. So, quick update for everybody. So weather's still the main thing that we're watching. We are currently red on the range, hoping to clear that anvil rule any moment now. That's really the only thing blocking us at the moment. Vehicle's good, pads ready to go. All of our checkouts have been really smooth today after that repair work that we did this morning after we had to abort out yesterday. So we're looking at the weather. That's the thing we're really paying attention to right now.
Meanwhile, prop load is still ongoing. We started loading prop at about T-minus 53 minutes, beginning with ship fuel, ship blocks, booster fuel, and finally booster locks began loading at about T-minus 35. We'll continue loading prop until just about 3 minutes before liftoff, and ship will conclude first, and then 30 seconds later, booster will finish up.
Yeah, so bottom line, we're looking great on the vehicle. We're looking really good on the range. We're just really watching that weather. So we're still waiting to hear that that's clear. That's the only thing that could potentially stop us today.
Okay, now let's talk about Mars, since everything we do is part of our foundational mission to get to the red planet. Each Starship launch is to learn more and more about what's needed to make life multiplanetary and to improve ship to the point where it's eventually taking millions of people to Mars.
That's right. We're looking ahead to begin sending the first Starships to Mars next year. These initial ones are going to go without humans. They're just going to put minimally viable landers on the surface, land right on the skirt, no legs. This will just help prove we can actually get to Mars, focus on learning just as much as humanly possible, demonstrating what's needed for Mars transit and the ultimate landing.
Then, during our next window from 2028 to 2029, we'll attempt to land the initial infrastructure and start delivering more equipment while evaluating available resources on the planet. And we'll also have Optimus on board for the ride, designed to do the initial heavy lifting.
Beyond that, by 2030, 2031, as these windows open up roughly every 26 months, we'll continue to increase the amount of payload we're sending on each ship as we're building out more infrastructure, mining resources, generating propellant for ships to come back from Mars. By 2033, we want to double the amount of payload per ship as we just get closer and closer to building a self-sustaining presence on the red planet.
Yeah, very exciting missions ahead, and these first missions to Mars are going to be crucial to setting up what we'll need for humans to eventually inhabit the planet, and we won't be doing this alone. The Italian space agency.
Итак, кстати, вот что еще из интересного у нас было на трансляции, это аж ничего за все это время. А только новые ведущие, а именно Тайлер Лионкист, менеджер по Старлинку, а также вот то, что сейчас говорит, это Аманда Ри, инженер по надежности строительства. Вот. Также была визуализация развертывания новых спутников Станут с помощью пэс-диспенсера, расположенного в грузовом отсеке. В данном запуске планируется развертывание 8 массогабаритных макетов Starlink, также известных как Дамлинк. SpaceX все еще планирует отправить беспилотные Старшипы на Марс в следующем году. Верим, очень верим. На данный момент наибольшую угрозу сегодняшнему запуску представляет погода. На текущий момент погода пока что no-go. Это капец, блин. No-go, это ужас просто.
11 million pounds of liquid propellant on board those two stages of Starship. So a lot of propellant to move really big rockets really fast away from South Texas. So once we get close, all of our ground systems will prepare themselves. They do what's called pushbacks. They'll clear out all of those feed lines, push back into the prop farm, and just prepare the area around it. We're doing our final guidance and navigation checks right now. The automated flight safety system is about to get armed. We're just really preparing the vehicle to get ready to go.
Спутники Starlink разработаны, построены, запущены и отправляются из Соединенных Штатов для обеспечения связи в любой точке планеты. Starship запустит более продвинутые спутники Starlink V3. При этом каждый запуск увеличит пропускную способность сети более чем в 20 раз по сравнению с текущими полетами Falcon 9. SpaceX дали огромный апдейт по Starlink. Впервые нормально показали производство и Redmonde, где собирает по 70 спутников в неделю. Самый быстрый производство подобных аппаратов в мире. Будет ход на 40 секундах. Капец. Просто ужас. For retraction, which occurs shortly after T0. And once we pass that T-40 second mark, Starship создан для доставки миллионов тонн на Марс. Сейчас мы предлагаем условия Starship для красной планеты. Недавно подписав наше первое соглашение с итальянским космическим агентством. Боже, а главное вот этот Weatherbot, который у нас есть в одном чате. В SpaceX чате. Он, главное, показывает то, что все зеленое по погоде, что погода прекрасная. Хотя на самом деле на 30% go. Где-то явно нам врут. Заправка Starship завершена. На отметке 2 минуты 50 секунд до запуска полностью завершается заправка, окончательно уже заправка всего стека.
Flight director for today is going through some of the final checks. We are still red on the range for weather. We are closing out prop load right now, though.
Yeah, as we wait and hear what's going on, we can just quickly review some of the test objectives for today. On the booster side, we're of course hoping for all 33 of those Raptor engines to power our ascent ahead of hot staging. And once that stage separation occurs,
двигатели все еще жестко намертво подключены к кольцу стартовой площадки. Заправка завершена. Погода все еще no go.
Yeah, using our time to really push the envelope. So at this point, we are fully closed out on our prop load.
Так, алло. Что, блин, за хрень со стримом опять? Давайте-ка без этого. Да, и будет холд на 40 секундах. Да, не... Ладно. Но все равно будет ход на 40 секундах, ведь.
We did just get confirmation, so we are expecting to hold at T-40. We are still red on the range for weather. So look for the clock to pause in just a couple.
Короче, все go for launch, кроме погоды. Это пипец. Это ужас, просто ужас. Вчера, блин, были проблемы с Ship Quick Disconnect, а была нормальная погода. Вот вчера, блин, не полетели из-за своей ошибки, сегодня не полетят из-за погоды. Ну, может, еще полетят, но... Что-то мне кажется, что нифига. Не знаю даже, что говорить. У нас остается окна полчаса, всего лишь полчаса. Если за эти полчаса погода не станет лучше, то все, капец. Ну, короче, ожидаем. In-orbit burn, so we'll relight one of those Raptor engines while in space, and that will occur ahead of re-entry, where we'll also be testing multiple experiments, including missing tiles, tiles, and intentionally loading those vehicles' flaps. And then hopefully we'll conclude today's test flight with a soft splashdown in the Indian Ocean. Реально, погода, ну, на вид погода хорошая, реально. В чем проблема полететь? Тем более Starship это вам не какой-то мелкий электрон, который сдувает даже минимальным ветром, а, блин, тяжелая 5000-тонная херовина. Ему вообще на любой ветер должно быть пофигу. Грозы нету, дождя нету. В чем реально проблема?
A couple of seconds potentially. Again, we can hang out here for several minutes. We're not actively replenishing prop. And getting an update now. And we're getting a weather update right now. And teams looking at it. Again, we're just tracking this anvil rule still. It's our only blocker today. Range is green, vehicle is green. Weather is currently red. All right, and sad voice coming in. We did just hear that we are still going to be red. So at this point, we are essentially transitioning this to be a wet dress. So wet dress is when we...
Пока ожидает улучшения погоды. Если погода не улучшится, на сегодня скраб.
and then we will be done for the day. So, sad news, not going to launch today. Weather got in our way, but you can only control so much, can't always control the weather, can't control the weather.
Все, челы, приехали.
Wouldn't that be nice? So we are seeing the clock rolling, but again, we're going to get down to T-minus 10 seconds, and we're going to see that kick back out.
Так, хотя, и подождите.
All of the propellant that's on board the rocket today. So, if you are just tuning in,
да.
It's not going. There it goes. Back to T-minus 40. So, again, we essentially turned today into a wet dress. So today still ended up being a test.
Still learning something as always.
Yeah, still learning something. We were able to fix the issue that kind of bit us yesterday, where we had a leaky hose.
Все, у нас
Oxygen into the ship, but we were able to fix that, but weather got us today. So no launch today. We do have a phenomenal logistics team, though, so we should hopefully be able to replenish